and welcome to the UGO podcast. New locale this time. Gonna be a little interesting. We're a little bit of a transition here, but who's transitioning with me? Why, it's me, Nick the Merc with a mic, and my fellow unapologist transitioning with me.
Wait, how are you transitioning with yourself?
I'm going through a process. I didn't want to bring this up. It's a little personal, but
No, just stop. Just stop there. I'm Travis.
And Travis is the one making me stop about my transition from one mascara to the next. It's a rough process, Travis. I want to be open with my friends and family about it, and I don't appreciate you shutting me down like that.
Well, I hope this one's waterproof.
I'll tell you, no, what we're transitioning is locales, because we well, I should say me. I'm moving out from our previous, because previously it was me and our other co-host Kyle were living together. Our lease was up, and we didn't want to live in that rat-infested cockroach piece of shit place anymore.
Actually, rats were those. Did you have rats?
No, we didn't have rats.
Okay, I was going to say, that was like one of the few things you didn't have.
Like, it was one of the... Yes, we did have mutant Ninja Turtles, but we didn't have any rats to help train them.
I told you, Nick, if you just stopped feeding them, they would stop showing up.
I can't help it. They know how to speak to me, how to market to me. Radical. Radical. I love it. Looks like my computer is not being very nice to me right now. Oh, yes. Okay. It was thinking hard about, like, do I really want to record this douchebag talking about Ninja Turtles? But, well, yes, you do.
I feel the same way every day.
I own you. You are a piece of equipment that I use. I control you. But yeah, so we are recording at Casa de Travis right now.
Casa de Travis' parents.
Yeah, on Travis's parents' place, because we are going to be moving into an apartment together somewhere in the next month. So the next couple recordings will be here or at my place. It'll depend. Or here at my mom's place, because I'm 26-year-old. We're both 26-year-olds, and we have to go over to our parents, each other's parents' place, to record this podcast.
I mean, it makes me feel better. We could go in the basement.
Yeah, I guess we could. I'm worried what we're going to find down there, because not to get too personal, but I had dinner with your parents just the other day. Mm-hmm. So that was fun, because I had not realized like how. Because I haven't been here in 5 years?
Quite a few, yeah.
It's been quite a few years. Yeah, we usually hung out at my either my old place or me and Kyle's newer place.
I didn't have quite as large a TV back then.
Yeah, so I just forgot how fucking awkward it is to be here. And just your interactions with your parents. I have never seen it. It really should be a TV show or a movie, because I've never seen this level of awkward interaction between two people.
We're antagonistic to show our love.
Yes, it is crazy, but I don't know, like, 'cause it's like the sarcastic comments with the unbelievably painful, awkward silences, to the point where I'm like, I want to laugh, but yet I can't. Like, I feel like if I laugh, I'll break the illusion, and like the whole system will come down. Like, I will no longer be in the Matrix. Like,
don't point directly at it, Nick.
And also, I love the room set up here. It hasn't changed too much, although there is the new TV. And I gotta say I love the new computer. Not for anything, I'm sure it runs fine and everything, but I just like how it looks. Because it looks like you're about to break into a government facility. Like, I've only seen that large of a fucking housing unit for a computer when someone's trying to do some obvious 90s hacking.
Of course, and it lights up colors too.
It does. It lights up blue like it does on the TV, even though it like doesn't do anything.
And when I turn it on, it even makes this like rushing noise, like this whoosh. It's amazing. I love this computer. It's
like we're starting an episode of CSI Miami or something, where it's just like, computers don't really glow like that. Oh, apparently they do.
Mine does.
You know what? I apologize to CSI Miami for questioning its authenticity. Mm-hmm. But speaking of, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is
authenticity?
No, TV.
Oh.
Because we caught up on a lot of TV the other day.
We did.
And I thought it would be cool to talk about it. But before we get to that, we have some other stuff to talk about. We got, our the trailers. We got a couple of pretty interesting trailers to talk about today. Along with some news. some TV related news. I got some TV news as well.
Fun.
But before we get into that, of course, we got to do, what do we got to do, Travis? Every time?
Probably announce things.
Announce things, yes. We got to do the announcements. But first we do the announcements. I got to at first take my pants off because that's, I
thought
told
that was
you.
only at your home you could do that.
I have to, it's how I maintain professionalism. It's, a lot of podcasters make that rookie mistake of podcasting with their pants on. And I find that reckless and, just truly a rookie mistake.
If anyone from oneofus.net is listening, are you taking applications?
No, do not say me as mine. You get your own whipping boy. You stick with Justin. You tell him what to do. Wow, that's some real inside baseball for any of our fans that are that don't listen to One of Us. But we'll get to the jokes that everyone can get the references to eventually. But yeah, so let's get to the announcements. Of course, always want to mention Tanner Hackle Designs designed the UGO of our logo. Did some great work for us. He will do some great graphic design work too for you if you give him a chance. So give him that chance. Go give it to him. Isabella the Derpy Dragon was developed for us by the lovely Kelly Main, and we absolutely love Isabella the Derpy Dragon, our mascot. So if you need some art commission work done, she's definitely a great option. And of course, as well, you want to check us out. If you want to give us a rating and a review on iTunes, you can do that. Subscribe to us on iTunes. It would really help out the channel. And you can write whatever goes in that review box, and we will read it on the air word for word. If it's a 5-star review, write in, I don't know, how your awkward interactions with your parents, or like why you think podcasting with your pants on is a good idea. Because I think Travis would love these suggestions.
Can I make a review?
Yes, you can. You can write a review, and I'll have to read it here on the air. That'd be fun. That'd be fun to read a review from my own co-host. It's like the most negative review on there too. And of course we want to mention our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is going to be a little slower nowadays because we just don't have the stable internet connection to work with.
Because we live in the boonies, or our parents do.
Yeah,
and,
we still...
I actually tried loading up fast.com just now to see what it was. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't load.
It wouldn't load.
I think that's very telling.
Man, if that isn't just a straight up symbolism right there. Yeah, but we are uploading the Guardians of the Galaxy Let's Play we had right now. We're still putting up the Mass Effect. I still got some editing to do on that. Mm-hmm. We got stuff happening on there. So
it's going.
Yeah, it gets going. So give it a look if you're interested in Let's Plays and all that stuff. Oh, also our reviews and stuff. If you'd prefer to listen to us on YouTube, I don't know where you're listening to us right now, but we are also up on YouTube too, as well. I've put that as an option for us. You can listen to us anywhere. If you don't follow us on Twitter, you can listen to us on there at UGO Podcast. You can listen to us through our Facebook portal, which is at Unapologists Geek Out on Facebook, or listen to us on our brand new webpage, unapologicsgeekout.com, and you can listen to us there.
Throw a dart at social media, you'll hit us.
Man, there's so many places for you guys to listen to us. It's ridiculous. And yeah, so far, that's all I got for announcements. So we'll just get right into the episode. Before we hit up the news, I just want to ask, hey buddy, how's it going? How's it doing? How's it happening?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
I have a cough that I've had for 3 weeks now, and I'm getting really sick of it.
Yeah, it's
so I do apologize to our listeners. I'm trying to go away from the mic when it's happening, but
right. But that's fine. I doubt they through delirious sickness you probably make as much sense as you normally do.
I'm not really sick anymore. It's just this cough is not going away.
Mm-hmm. That tickle at the back of your throat. Yeah. Well, maybe it's maybe you're gonna get in trouble with the Stephen Colbert people. You got that using it as a cock holster too much. Did you see that controversy going around?
No.
Oh man, I didn't want to bring back the liberal tier segment of the podcast.
We have to have it.
But yeah, as far as Colbert making the cock holster joke about Trump and having that be a homophobic remark.
Oh yes, that
wow.
part.
Grow up. Jeez. I love it how many people are suddenly now offended that probably have never stood up for LGBTQ rights in their lives.
No.
But because, liberal Stephen O. Colbert finally had a chance, ooh, maybe we can turn the liberal sensitivity against it. And I was actually nervous for a while. I was just like, man, that could actually work, because there's a little truth to the, oversensitivity on certain sides.
It's on both sides.
On both sides. Well, geez, like they treat it like it's like the liberal snowflakes, but as soon as you say something you don't like, oh, how could you say that? But we won't turn it into a too much of a political podcast today. I found it funny that hashtag cancel Colbert, because that's always worked. And I'm sure they'll dump him because it took so long to get rid of O'Reilly, who actually sexually assaulted people.
Hey, we could go listen to his podcast after this.
Oh yeah, O'Reilly free,
which you have to pay for.
Which you have to pay for. Wow, that is so.
That's amazing.
I mean, how Bill, buddy? I mean, why make it so easy for me? Why would you make the joke that easy?
I can't even make a joke. It's there.
I mean, technically, I would have gone with man, our podcast is technically O'Reilly free because he's not on it. Like, every podcast is O'Reilly free when you think about it, except his. His name is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the O'Reilly Factor was not a brilliant name to begin with, but come on.
It's generic.
I mean, it's generic, but at least, hey, there's a factor in this, and I guess O'Reilly's on it. I can sort of see it. O'Reilly free is just like, what are you free from? Your advertisers that don't want to advertise for you anymore? You're not, you didn't get set free. You got kicked to the curb.
But don't worry, listeners. You will not have to pay us to keep this podcast O'Reilly free.
No, but, you can pay us to bash O'Reilly as well, to keep it as well, cause I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a gross human being, and I love that. I'm actually nervous. I'm like, man, I hope I don't offend any of our conservative listeners. And I was like, who would that be?
I think we would have scared them off long before this.
Yeah. I think that they've been gone since November. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
But if you are a conservative and you are listening, sorry for making fun of your messiah, Bill O'Reilly. I'm sure he's crying into his $25 million severance pay. So what do I know? He got that last laugh on us too. But, it was out of $100 million contract or whatever. So, but you know what? He is no longer on the air and in any hiring capacity at Fox News. So he's not in charge there anymore. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that liberal tier segment done, which I swear to God, I don't start these podcasts realizing that I don't have I have the notes here. There is no liberal tier segment. I didn't write it down here. It happens, okay? I'm a special snowflake, apparently, and sometimes I gotta bitch about, people sexual assaulting people, and sometimes I take offense at millions getting kicked off of healthcare.
Well,
I'm sensitive that way.
Remember, now the sexual assault thing is a pre-existing condition.
Right? I mean, I'm just, you know what? I'm too super sensitive about that sort of thing. I'm just...
Grow the fuck up,
I have too much empathy, and I every once in a while care about what happens to my fellow human being. It's gross.
As long as
really.
It's not me.
Yeah, well, who gives a shit? As long as you are technically alive enough to do the podcast, so I have someone to bounce jokes off of, I guess that's technically qualifying.
So if I was brain dead, you'd still do the podcast?
That depends. How brain dead are we talking? Could you still make complete sentences?
Well, I mean, it barrels down to what you count as technically alive, but you know what? I think we're getting off topic.
Would you misspell tap? You know, a 3-letter word. Would you misspell it?
Nick, I'd have to be really brain dead.
Who am I kidding? I would totally do a podcast with Trump. I wouldn't be able to help myself. I would just stick it to him. I talk about the Oval Office and corners and try and confuse him about metaphors. Hey, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. It's like, wait a minute, how could one thing be worth 2 things?
No, we're talking about George Bush.
Oh no, wait, is Bush in here? Is Billy Bush? Is he here? Which Bush? Or 2 bushes?
1 bird, 2 bushes.
No, I can't lie. I would do a podcast with that man in a minute.
He'd probably walk out on you.
In a minute. Yeah, but until then, it would be.
I want to see how far.
I want to see how far I could just get with him.
1 minute with Donald Trump.
Well, that's probably the autobiography of every one of his failed marriages.
Bam.
I know, it was super obvious. Had to take it. Had to take the shot. I apologize. I will do better to keep the humor at a higher brow. But come on, sometimes when you get thrown a slow pitch over the plate, and what am I supposed to do? Not take a swing?
Might as well.
Come on. Okay, liberal segment over. Actually
time.
over this time. It's gone. Okay, we're done. Let's move on to the news. All right. So, speaking of some tears, we are not going to have too many tears for the writers because the Writers Guild of America's strike has been avoided.
Whew, thank God.
It went a little past the deadline. We were supposed to have a deal, but both sides agreed to stick past the deadline because apparently they were pretty close on making a deal.
So basically, there was enough going on that they were okay with going past it.
Yep. So, they managed to make a deal for, I think, like the next 3 years or something.
Well, we'll be good for another 3 years.
And apparently the unions got a deal that they were apparently happy with, involving royalties and stuff like that, and just basically getting paid more because they are one of the most underrated groups in Hollywood for that.
Well, it's good because if we lose writers, then we end up having to listen to shit like this.
I'm certain Warner Brothers probably was wiping a big sweat off their brow. Although who knows? Maybe a lack of writers on the DC movies would help. You ever think about that?
I have no idea. Just DC.
The fact that they wouldn't be able to write, like maybe someone wouldn't be around to write in Martha. They have both their mom's names are Martha.
I just can't even believe that'd be a writer thing. I feel like they should have more talent than that.
God, whoever wrote that with like a straight face, like I pity you in the worst way.
That kind of person probably wasn't going to be affected by the writer's strike.
Yeah, so that is exciting to me because that means that we don't because a lot of like late night comedy shows would have been immediately hit, and then later shows like our TV shows would have been hit. And that's what led to kind of like the weird thing with season 2 of Breaking Bad. It led to movies like Transformers 2. Like that was a big part of why that narrative didn't make any sense. It's just that just didn't have the writing team on it. So yeah, that's good news. But as far as TV shows that don't have really good news, NBC's Powerless is officially, well, maybe not officially, but has been yanked. The remaining episodes have been yanked from the schedule, and it looks like it's not going to be around for a season 2. So it looks like all but canceled, but they have not stated specifically that it's been officially canceled by NBC.
Okay.
But they've done everything except that. I have not actually watched a single episode.
Well, that's part of the problem, isn't it?
I wanted to give it a chance and watch at least one episode, but from what I was hearing, I was just like, it just didn't sound worth it. So all this is hearsay from me. It's not any. So don't take my word for it on whether the show quality is good or not. But it did not get the viewership that they wanted, and it's gone. They said that, of course, nothing is dead in this universe, so it could possibly be picked up by Netflix or Hulu or someplace else. It's a DC superhero show. You never really know. I would say it was kind of a dumb idea to make a superhero show without superheroes in it.
Yeah.
But it's based off of a good premise that's actually a Marvel premise off of Damage Control.
Right.
And yeah, Warner Brothers doesn't have the clout that and it's on NBC, so
that's a kind of a
yeah. It wasn't on Fox, so I guess there's that.
Well, it just means they didn't on purposely cancel it.
Here's some more good TV news. Well, at least for us. John Barrowman, guy who plays Merlin on the Arrowverse TV shows, is not returning to the Arrowverse next season.
Oh, jeez. Thank God.
And for me, I'm just kind of like, well, I'm mixed on this because as far as the Arrow show goes, good. He can stay gone. He was always a detriment to that show. The only time he was acceptable was season 1, where we needed a villain, and we had not run the fucking evil Archer thing into the ground. Right. As far as the second season of Legends of Tomorrow, he was actually a kind of a neat member with the Legion of Doom they had going on there. They had Reverse Flash, Damien Dark, and Merlin team up to take on the Legends. And it was kind of neat to see him there. He didn't really add a whole lot, but he didn't have like a whole stupid like, you know, the Legends didn't make him Ra's al Ghul of like the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, I don't want to say that I'm excited that he's not going to be back because I don't have anything against that actor.
No.
I really don't. I think John Barrowman's a fine actor, and I respect the man a lot. But his character was so overused in Arrow to the point where
They just kept bringing him back, and he wasn't that interesting.
he's not an interesting character, and he made all the other characters really dumb. Because in order for him to stay around, all the other characters basically had to forget how much of a villain he was to begin with. So it just doesn't. It didn't really make sense for him to stick around as long as he did. He was a one and done villain.
Then again, the only characters I like in that show are the side characters anyway. So
yeah, and we might get into that later when we talk about our TV wrap up. Which I suppose we should include. Yeah, we will be talking about a little bit about the CW Arrowverse shows because I'm caught up. Travis is not, and I want to talk about some of the latest reveals, but not a whole lot more than that. We'll save it for when we have Ed and Zach back on if we can get them. But we'll be talking more about Attack on Titan. Season 2.
Yes, that's right. We did watch that.
Because I want to talk about that, and then we'll be talking about Game of Thrones and the update on Samurai Jack that we've been watching. But yeah, the next story we got, let's see, the Boondock Saints is going to have an Origins TV reboot.
Really?
So yeah, I guess they it's such a cult hit, they ended up getting that sequel that I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was fun.
And it's let's see. It's the TV reboot sounds like it's going to be reteaming Duffy, which was who was the original series, original movie creator. And let's see, I got the quote from Duffy say here: "A television series is the perfect medium for the storytelling inside the world of our beloved blue-collar superheroes. The brothers have always been defenders of the people, justice, fairness, and the city of Boston. In the sensitive time of human rights unrest, government scandal, and civil corruption, there couldn't be a better moment to relaunch the brothers' iconic brand of justice in the cradle of democracy." Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Boondock Saints, it was a little cult movie released a little back when, and the reason it has a cult status is because it was a controversial kind of vigilante story. Mm-hmm. And the main idea was that these two brothers think that they get they basically get this revelation. They get this thing from this message from God saying hey, isn't it kind of fucked up this world how many of these gangsters and drug dealers and people just kind of running our streets, and they all just get away with it. And I think even one of the quotes in the original movie was, admitted, one of these times you just think about why doesn't someone just, gear up and take care of those guys? And they do it. And there's even in the movies universe, they were always controversial figures of whether or not vigilante justice should be praised, or if it's it should be condemned, and they're taking the law into their own hands. Of course, you can also just watch it as an action kind of comedy on that level as well. I feel like now in our climate, their villains will probably be a little bit different. But the main idea is still pretty sound. I think a TV show, I kind of like the idea of this long-form storytelling version of it.
I guess it all depends what station it's on.
Well, the thing was about it that they always treated it it was always weird for me that they went into retirement after the first movie and then came back to be and we're back again. I'm because the end of the first movie it makes it feel like they're gonna do this for a while, and then in the sequel they show up and
jump.
Yeah, they just kind of jump, and it's it feels weird. And then, the sequel ends in a way where, we could totally franchise this out, and keep going. So I'm surprised they're going to even do a reboot rather than just a straight...
Just starting in the middle somewhere?
Well, they're probably going to want to hire new actors to do it. I mean, well, you could probably get Sean Patrick Finlay back. That wouldn't be a big get. He's not doing a whole lot. But the other guy, what's his name? Daryl on The Walking Dead. He's got Walking Dead money coming his way. So as long as he's getting paid there, I don't think he's going to be an easy as a get. But you know what? I would definitely try and watch it. I would definitely give it a chance at least. I would give it a college try. I could see this easily being a generic TV show as well. This only has like one very specific way it could work, and then about 10 other ways that a studio like NBC or fucking, well, they wouldn't put it on NBC. They might put it on Fox or something. And I could see how they would fuck it up.
Nick. God, procedural.
Yeah, I know that. That's my thing is that, like, what cop, if they're going to team up with a cop in order to team up Vigilante. But they already did team up with a cop. They teamed up with Willem Dafoe, who was an FBI agent. But they didn't really.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, well, that and they didn't, like, it wasn't a procedural. He helped them murder people.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea of questioning, like, these are bad people. Kind of like the Dexter question. Like, oh, I always liked about that show. These people are the worst people of the world, but does that give someone the right to just take care of them and to take the law into their own hands? Like, does that give them the right? What is the moral center? Which I always find to be a very interesting,
a question.
Interesting question. And it's like, it's a contextual and like, what's, is murder okay if you justify it?
Right. And how do you who decides what's right? And
no, there's a lot of questions that I feel like that the original movie brings up and the TV show could explore. So mark me down as pretty excited. How about our next story though? We got Sony. We're gonna move away from TV because we got Sony. We're gonna talk about movies.
Oh joy.
Sony reports $719 million loss for its movie division this year. For the previous year.
That shouldn't make me smile because these are still people's jobs, but
man, Sony's stupid.
It kind of makes me smile.
I shouldn't say that. Like Sony, I'm sure they're made up of a whole multitude of people, and that most of this has to do with decision making
way up
top on executives and producers and stuff like that. But they are, there's only so much money that the box office can bring in. This year they were the losers out of it because of underperforming movies, like, movies that could have been big hits for them, but just weren't. They underperformed, like Ghostbusters, Magnificent Seven. Let's see, what else did they have? Oh yeah, they had Passengers or whatever. And that one I think did a little bit better though.
Like none of these movies are even bad movies. They're just
and then none of them did particularly bad in the box office.
Right.
Just that they didn't have any big wins this year or like the previous year. But hopefully in May, they got the Spider-Man crossover thing with Marvel. That'll do well for them because
however much money they're making off of it.
Well, it's Spider-Man's quote unquote return to Marvel,
right?
Even though but he's returning to the MCU, and there's Iron Man in that movie. How does that not make $1 billion?
That's gonna make a lot of money.
That movie will make so much money
because they've already proven that when you put somebody else in one of these movies, it does really well. But look at Thor Ragnarok.
So, but then they're going to be developing the Dark Tower, which we're going to talk about later in the trailer talk.
Okay.
And that's an interesting one. I don't know how mainstream that's going to be because, people like Stephen King. They like Stephen King movies.
It's a pretty popular book
It's a really popular book. But they're skipping around with the books getting because that first book is boring. Like I've
actually not read the series.
I have read the first one and I hear that it gets better in the second book. I wouldn't know that first book, like, King, man, I respect for you for setting up a sequence and making it feel like a Western, but that first book is all set up and no payoff.
Stephen King is always such an interesting writer because he's so good at setting up situations and he's not good at finishing them.
No, he's already said that like he only finishes stories because his agent gets on him about like, hey, we need to make money, and you can only make money off of stories you finish. And I feel like that, man, that's not a great way to write. Like that is
maybe Stephen King should try making a choose your own ending book.
Except that they all end in giant spider.
Well, fine, but it's about the adventure, Nick.
And you fight off the giant spider from the end of it. Damn it! Not again!
Every time. I swear I didn't even choose the same page this time.
But yeah, are you gonna develop a drinking problem? Or are you gonna go to Maine? You get all the quotes, you end up with all of them by the end anyway, with all the tropes.
I chose drinking problem. You got drunk in Maine. God fucking damn it.
So, but yeah, they're gonna bounce off this Spider-Man thing. So their idea after that is they're gonna be developing their own collection of Spider-Man Marvel films, such as Venom, Black Cat, and Silver Sable.
Bad idea.
And, apparently they're not going to do the Aunt May spy movie or whatever.
Good idea.
Do. And it's like, I don't know what their idea is here. Is that on one level it makes sense, that's going to be their new bread and butter, but on the other side, why? Venom, I guess, I can see why someone would pitch it and you'd get it and you'd understand it better. Black Cat and Silver Sable, who the fuck cares about those characters without Spider-Man in that story?
That's true.
No one cares. And I like Black Cat and Silver Sable, but I do not see how you sell that movie when it's not connected to the MCU.
I don't know. Guardians of the Galaxy was a movie.
Yeah, indeed, but that's part of the MCU. They got the cred, they they can put the Marvel stamp on it, and these movies won't have that. Only the Spider-Man solo films will have that, because they're the ones that are teamed up. Yeah, so it's not looking great for Sony. They've had a couple of years like this. I don't know, they need to switch up their higher up decision making, if they want to make better movie decisions. I don't know, because all these are standard franchise decisions. I could see why an executive producer I'm going to make a new Ghostbusters film, sure, and they don't want to put money into writing a good script for it, or and I didn't hate the Ghostbusters reboot either.
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was but that's what it is. It's fine.
It's a functional movie.
It functions, and as far as rebooting one of the most popular comedies ever, you might want to invest a little bit more into the script writing phase. And it's same thing with Magnificent Seven. Hey, make it feel like you're putting a little effort in. Put a little effort into it, guys. But yeah, that's as far as stories. That's all I had. I was gonna get into the whole Captain America Hydra agent thing, but we've already gone long enough. We'll get to the trailer talk instead, and maybe I'll cover the Hydra agent thing at another time, because I'm still not fully. I still don't know how I fully stand by that whole thing, but it does feel really weird for me. So I understand why people are upset about it, and I do get it. And while I might not be as mad, it does come from a place where I know that I read comic books, and this thing could always be redone at any point, unless it's Spider-Man's marriage, because that'll never get undone for whatever reason. So
yeah, but they undo it, and then the only reason they did was shock value. So
stay strong, guys. Stay strong. But with that, we're gonna take a small musical break, and we'll be back with the trailer talk right after this. It's trailer talk time, Travis. Oh my God, we got some crazy trailers to talk about today.
All right.
Should we? Let's, you know what? Let's skip to the big one first, because I can't contain myself.
Of course,
I gotta talk about my boys, my Marvel boys. And no, we're not talking about Thor Ragnarok again or anything like that. We're talking about the street level dudes, Travis. The street. We're taking it to the street.
Are we?
It's the Defenders, motherfucker. Let's give that a watch, shall we?
Let's do it.
You have interrupted a citywide investigation. You stole evidence from my crime scene. And you got my one lead killed.
In my defense, I was drunk.
I was trying to help him, but you didn't.
Jessica Jones, stop talking.
Who the hell are you?
My name is Matthew Murdoch. I'm your attorney.
Smiles.
How does being Harlem's hero allow you to live an actual life?
Right now, I just want to help people.
And get laid, apparently.
I think there's someone that you need to meet.
Ooh.
What are you doing in there? Who are you? Who are you? What's the deal with
That needed to happen.
I'm the immortal Iron Fist.
You what?
You're on
That sounds
the
stupid.
same side.
You four. The devil of Hell's Kitchen. The smart-ass detective.
We got a problem?
The righteous ex-con.
My bad.
And the kid with a glowing fist.
Yeah, that sounds of his character.
The war
And the
for
one
New
with also the
York is
lowest
here.
Netflix ratings.
So get your shit together.
The more connections you have, the easier it will be to break you.
You look like an idiot.
It's your scarf.
A hallway. All right, I'm in. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm in.
okay, and all right, so let's break it down. We got the first team up with our Netflix heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it looks like Rosario Dawson is teaming them all up together to fight a
Yes.
greater threat.
Because she's basically the web that holds all these things together.
Oh my god! Like when I watch this, I'm so nervous that they're gonna kill her, and
Yeah.
then it's gonna be an Agent Coulson thing from Avengers because we got to give them something to fight over. So the fact that I only see her in one scene in this trailer,
no,
I'm like,
no.
hey, and I'm like, hey, she single-handedly saves some of these shows. Like Iron Fist, the only reason it gets a 2 out of 5 for me rather than 1 out of 5 is mostly due to her. So yeah, I don't think that would be a good idea, but. I like the fact that they're coming together. I like the chemistry between the characters. That's the most, that's the funnest part about the Avengers movies is watching these guys bounce off of each
Yeah.
other. Like, that's the coolest thing. Like, the moment Matt Murdock walks in on Jessica Jones, she's like, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm your attorney.
Smiles.
I'm gonna be your antagonistic relationship for this crossover. I hope you enjoy. Just like gives that smile. She even has that joke like, "Man, you look stupid with that scarf on." It's like, your scarf. And of course, I'm interested to see how these villains are gonna fight these heroes when they constantly make the mistake of fighting on their home turf, which is hallways.
Yeah. Why would they do that?
And I realize that New York is made up of mostly hallways. So they're in their natural element. And they have to fight them. Like, if these shows happened in Utah or Nevada or some wide open spaces, I guess the defenders would be screwed, but they have the close quarters combat thing down.
Yeah.
Even Iron Fist, which was I so am underwhelmed by Iron Fist. Even he had some moments in this trailer where that final jump and punch thing he did, I was like, damn it, that is kind of cool.
Maybe they actually gave him some, lessons in between.
Do you think it's a coincidence that the first time we see Iron Fist and Luke Cage team up that he gets his ass handed to him?
No, that was beautiful.
And then I love that they give him the punch to Luke Cage's face because it's the exact opposite scene from the Luke Cage punch in the series. Remember where the wrist got broken?
Right.
So I'm like, but this one it actually hits him, and I'm like, that's cool and everything. But according to Iron Fist, he can only do that punch
once a day.
He needs a couple hours to recharge.
whatever.
So I'm like, okay. But then Luke Cage is going to get up from that, be really mad, and then beat the ever-loving shit out of you.
And it's also interesting showing the other characters that the other, minor characters from the other shows are bringing back.
Yeah, I like that. I'm wondering if we're going to see even some more minor characters. We won't see Punisher in this. We're going to see Elektra be brought back. So that's interesting.
Misty.
But that makes me feel like, okay, so Sigourney Weaver is going to be in charge of another faction of the Hand.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck! The Hand are so uninteresting in these series.
But Sigourney Weaver.
I know. So that's good. That's good.
That is
but,
good.
But I thought the same thing about Madame Gao, and she didn't save Iron Fist. So yeah, I like that. And we gotta give the Netflix shows credit. Most of these shows have been really good. And the same showrunner who ran Iron Fist is not going to be involved in this. Hopefully he won't be involved in anything other Iron Fist related. Cause that was, and the only thing I can think of is like, wow, this is a very exciting trailer. How much more excited would I be if I had not seen Iron Fist?
Yeah.
If this had come out before Iron Fist.
Or if I had cared to watch Iron Fist.
Yeah, now, well, hindsight being 2020, I would have much rather Iron Fist be introduced in the Defenders series and him not having gotten his own series. I understand why they thought it was important to do it, but I'm like, if you weren't gonna put some effort into doing it right, I don't understand why you thought, like, it would make it better. But again, that Rotten Tomato score and the Netflix ratings, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe Iron Fist was a super hit for them.
Maybe I should watch it and just be like, Nick, you're totally wrong.
Maybe I am totally, completely wrong on it. But I was bored.
That is a big sin.
So that's pretty cool. I like the fact that we see Colleen win. It was only one of the only good parts about Iron Fist. I'm wondering if we're going to see some more Luke Cage side characters. Like maybe could we see like Black Mariah show back up and have be involved a little bit? Maybe Shades. Foggy. I didn't get to see Foggy at all. I would like to see Foggy coming in. Maybe Hogarth. She's always been.
She pops in and out.
She's been in a lot of these around. Like, you know, she's been around. She was part of Iron Fist as well.
I am kind of curious where it almost seems like when Matt took out the Daredevil suit, it almost seems like he had put it away. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, and then he gets stuck without it for a little bit, which is understandable. He doesn't carry the thing with him,
right.
So if they get into shit and he's in his street clothes, he has to figure out what's something to do. And we don't see him fight like with the other defenders with the suit on. We see him alone fighting with the suit on, but I'm assuming that hallway fight with them together is like one of the first times they team up, and then the end fight is going to be all of them together on a rooftop, standing in line. I'm thinking, not unlike the Ninja Turtles ending. Which, you laugh, but that Ninja Turtles ending, you watch the Ninja Turtles ending from the first TMNT and tell me it doesn't look like the end of Daredevil Season 2.
Alright.
It's almost the same. Except more emotionally compelling. But yeah, I gotta say I'm still super excited. I think the Netflix shows, for the most part, they've shown some serious competence. Iron Fist notwithstanding.
Well, and Luke Cage Part 2.
Luke Cage, I feel like I don't know, I feel like a real big problem with that was just that there was a tone shift halfway through, and that I was not with the cartoony villain at the very end. Other than that, I think that all of them have felt really long in the tooth. Like, every Netflix Marvel show, well, every Netflix show really, has felt like, man, this should be 8 to 10 episodes. And this is an 8-episode miniseries. So that's like the perfect length. That's Stranger Things length, which is like the perfect like pacing amount. So I'm hoping that they'll take a lesson from that. Yes. Or add more to their stories, because there's just... especially with Iron Fist, I don't want to keep taking it back to Iron Fist, but there's just not enough story there to support 12 episodes. 12, like, almost hour-long episodes.
How long is the, Series of Unfortunate Events Season 1?
That one, completes, I think it's 9 no. It's 2, they take, every book is like 2 episodes, and they cover like 4 books, I think it's 8? Or was it 10? Did they cover 5? I don't remember.
They have a good system.
But every 2 it was like a 2-hour movie every time. So it was like that one, and then Stranger Things had a better episode length. But
the shows should leave you wanting more.
Color Me still very excited about this. Maybe it can redeem Iron Fist a little bit to make people more excited for another season of it. But we shall see. Should we move on to our next trailer?
Sure. What we got?
What we got up next? Do you want to check in on Wonder Woman? One of her final trailers. We haven't heard from her in a while. Where's she at?
This one?
Where are you, girl? There's Wonder Woman. Yeah, let's give her a watch.
All right. Have you never met a man before? What about your father?
I had no father. I was brought to life by Zeus.
Right.
The gods made the Amazons to restore peace to the world.
And it's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's neat. Welcome to jolly old London.
It's hideous.
Yeah, it's not for everybody.
London is gross.
Stay back. Or maybe not. Who is this woman?
You will soon find out.
Yep, that's not gonna work. Please put the sword down.
It doesn't go with the outfit.
At all.
So yeah, another short trailer for Wonder Woman.
Not really anything new.
No, but I'm seeing a lot more action in it.
Yeah,
which,
and it does look visceral.
Man, that action is actually one of the things that I actually really like about it. I'm just like, man, this, if anything else, this looks good. I can tell what's going on. Wonder Woman has a distinctive fighting style. Yeah. I like it. One of the things that has me worried is just like, there's that pause of like, oh, well, you never met a man before? Like, who's your father? Like, Zeus made me. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, and I'm like, I'm getting ready for the plot twist that it's going to be that Ares is her real dad, and that's going to be the plot twisty thing, and it'll be all about this female empowerment's like relationship with her father, and be like, okay, but yeah, other than that, the only part where this trailer falls down is the exact part all the other trailers fall down for me, is that they're not funny, and that they keep trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this does not... Chris Pratt is funny enough, or whatever.
Pine.
Chris Pine, not the other Chris. The other white boy Chris.
Wait, which other white boy Chris?
There's so many white boy Chris's. There's so goddamn many of them.
I think Marvel might be producing
He's one of the only one that's not working for Marvel yet. But they'll get him. They'll get him eventually.
Wait, who's he gonna play then?
I don't know. They'll have to punish him for playing a DC character first. So they'll make him somebody lame or something.
Oh my god, he's gonna be Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. No, they already got that covered with Seth Green.
True. Someone lesser than Howard the Duck?
They'll make him Rocket Racer. They'll make him Rocket Racer. Man, that'd be hilarious. But yeah, I just don't. I don't find the jokes in the DC universe to be jokes,
because the DC universe doesn't believe in jokes.
Like, they don't know what's funny. Like, even in the Justice League trailer, in the new trailer, it's just like the funniest parts are from Aquaman. Like, it's just like, he dresses like a bat. I can dig it. I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. But then Batman will come up with like, yeah, this teamwork thing might be temporary. Like, okay, yeah, it's more like the Superman BVS line was like, is she with you? I thought she was with you. And it's like, it's supposed to be this joke, and it doesn't make any sense because Wonder Woman has interacted with Batman, but like, why would you think she was with Superman? That's stupid. And it only comes in because it's a joke for the trailer. I don't understand why it got left into the movie.
But hey, he does have that, I'm a billionaire line. That's at least somewhat...
I'm rich.
somewhat funny, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta say that I'm the most hopeful for this movie out of all the fucking, out of all the DC movies, but I'm still not... is this controversial too? Is Gal Gadot not a very good actress?
I haven't seen her enough.
I've seen her in the Fast and the Furious movies, like in their previous work, and I just thought she was fighting her accent in there. And in this one, I'm just like, she just comes off as a little like, I guess she's fine, but I'm gonna need a little bit more than fine from Wonder Woman. But we'll see. We will see indeed. I guess I don't really... We've spoken pretty much a lot about our feelings on DC and Wonder Woman, so we'll move on to the next one. Should we see what the Dark Tower, what Stephen King has to offer?
Yeah, let's check it out. I mean, this one has Idris Elba, so...
Indeed.
We know he's a good actor.
Who are you?
It's you. You're a gunslinger, right?
There are no gunslingers. Not anymore.
Why does the man in black want to destroy the tower?
The tower protects both our worlds. If it falls, hell will be unleashed.
He's like the devil, isn't he?
No, he's worse.
You can't stop what's coming. Death always wins.
Your world might be gone, but mine isn't. If you let that tower fall, billions of people die.
Will they have guns and bullets in your world?
You're gonna like Earth a lot.
All right, let's go.
You clawing your way out of the darkness? Did you tell the kid whoever walks with you dies by my hand?
I will kill him, for both of us.
I do not aim at my hand. He who aims with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I aim with my eye. I do not shoot with my hand. I shoot with my mind. I do not kill with my gun. I kill with my heart.
Just like Yondu. So yes, that was the trailer for The Dark Tower. I like certain elements of it. And there, of course, there's a controversy brewing around it right now too.
Really?
Yes. Well, of course, you know that Roland, being played by Idris Elba here, was of course white in the stories. So apparently there's a big controversy over blackwashing the character.
Okay, question.
Yep.
Was the fact that he was white ever relevant to the story?
Nope.
Then
well, as far as I read, I only read for one book, and let me tell you, Roland. One of the parts of that first book is boring. Is that Roland is a standard white dude character. He is fine. He's a Clint Eastwood type. He's a Western dude, but there's not a whole lot more to him than that. He could be played by any race or gender or whatever. There's nothing
to him.
There's nothing to him, at least from the book that I read. Okay? So yeah, and as far as him being a black cowboy, he's from a different dimension. So who cares? He could be a purple cowboy. It would make as much sense. So the fact that if he couldn't be a black cowboy, there were no black cowboys. One, there were black cowboys. That was a thing that happened.
And there were Hispanic cowboys.
Two, he's from a different dimension. It wouldn't make any difference. And then for people who are saying they should have flipped it and had Matthew McConaughey be Roland, and then have Idris Elba be the Man in Black, you're dumb, because the Man in Black is a gangly white guy. He if anyone's cast perfectly in this, it's Matthew McConaughey being the Man in Black. Like, oh, that's exactly what it looks like from there's the comic versions of him too, and he's a character that also pops up in a lot of other Stephen King books as well. Because the Dark Tower, jumps universes and uses multiple characters. He's actually the Man in Black is actually an antagonist from a lot of different ones. This and of course this one, they're skipping over most of the first book. The only thing I recognize is that the gunslinger does team up with a kid from another universe in that one. And as far as the things that they seem to be fighting, they could be fighting anything. Like they could be fighting. Some people were speculating that these might be the things from The Mist that they're fighting. So that'd be interesting. The one thing that's cool about the Dark Tower series is that it opens up that multiverse of Stephen King. Yeah. That is kind of neat. Mm-hmm. I do like that aspect of it.
Plus, if anything else, Idris Elba with a gun's pretty sexy.
Idris Elba, he is is it weird how, sexually attracted I am to Idris Elba?
Honestly, it'd be weird if you weren't.
It would be weirder if I wasn't, right? I think it's the accent that puts it over the top, because he is a undeniably sexy man.
You do have a thing for accents.
But then he speaks, and it's this deep baritone with that fucking English accent, and it's just like, damn, Idris, just take care of me. Whisper sweet nothings to me at night.
Then again, let's remember the last time we watched Idris Elba in a movie with a child.
Which one was that?
The one about, Beast in No Nation.
Oh, that's right. I totally I save your life. I save your life with magic guns. I save your life. So that might not work out for him. Yeah, so as someone who has, again, only read the first book and has no idea how this story goes or ends, I like the idea of this, different dimensional gunslinger. The one thing I gotta say about it is this might see John Carter syndrome of, like, they gotta save the Dark Tower with this beacon of light to save the universe or whatever, and I'm like, wow, this feels like every climax to every Marvel / superhero movie. And it looks like that with that big thing in the sky. I'm like, damn it! And I know they're only following the story, like they're being faithful to the source material. Just the fact that's such a generic how superhero movies end nowadays. It's just like
is that city New York? Because if it's New York,
yeah, it's lame. Yeah, as far as that's the only concern I have, is that it just could suffer from those like generic kind of tropish things right now. I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
I'd give it a shot. I mean, I know very little of this series than what like you've told me and things I've heard from people. I might even give the book series a read one of these days. I was actually going to look into reading some of Terry Pratchett's work, but God, that's a 40-book series I don't want to look into.
Says the guy who reads One Piece.
Hey, One Piece is numerical in order. I looked up Terry Pratchett and I was given a graph. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
But yeah, I would say if you're going to start the series, start with book 2 and read like a wiki summary of book 1.
Okay.
Cause it's not the fact that it's well written, it's just that not enough happens in it to support like, and I listened to it on audiobook, during a work shift, and I was still like, Jesus King, let's move it along here. But again, my millennial pacing and attention span maybe. Or maybe I just like my stories to move at a decent clip, rather than glacially slow. But yeah, with that, I think that brings an end to our trailer talk for today.
All right.
We're gonna go to a small musical break. We'll be back with our TV catch-up right after this. And we're back.
Did you miss us?
Yeah, did you miss? It feels like almost no time has passed. It's weird like that,
right?
How when we edit this. But yeah, you know what's strange is that after I edit this, actually with the musical cue, more time will have passed than when we cut this.
It's weird.
But yeah, the main subject of the day is going to be just TV catch-up.
Woo!
Because we've been watching TV lately. And I thought it would be just good to touch base on it.
As if we ever don't.
I thought it would be good to touch base. Well, usually we've been just catching you up on Game of Thrones, but we watched a lot of stuff this week. And what should we start with?
Let's go with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones? Okay. So we've gotten Travis caught up to season 5.
Yeah, one season to go. That's currently out.
So we are done with that. So we've caught him up. We've watched up until the very last episode of season 5. So we've watched Hard Home, a good episode.
Yeah.
We got him caught up to the what was it? The fucking
the Harpies attacking Daenerys.
The Harpies, the Colosseum, Daenerys taking over that thing. The Tyrion has met with Daenerys. Oh yeah, there's gonna be full spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to listen to maybe some of our other TV talk,
in case you're behind even what I am.
Jump ahead a couple minutes until we talk about Samurai Jack or Attack on Titan or whatnot. But yeah, as far as that, like, how did you feel about season 5?
It was enjoyable.
What's been you know what? Instead of that, let me ask you this: what's been your favorite season so far out of the 5 seasons that you watched?
That's hard to say. I really don't know, to be honest.
You don't really know?
It's really hard because they have such a different feeling each time because the characters change each time. Not only who's actually alive,
right,
but also just their motivations and what their goal is this season.
And some characters have a better season than other characters.
Right.
You know, this season 5, I feel like might be the weakest season of the show that's not season 1. Because I feel like season 1 is super a lot of setup.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just like the book, but even the book is even worse. But season 1 is just so like, man, geez, this is some setup, and it's good and everything, but I don't see what everyone is talking about, like why it's so highly acclaimed, at least when I first started watching it. And then by the end of like the second from last episode where Ned gets his head clipped off, you're kind of like, ooh, okay. They're willing to go there. They're willing to kill some characters.
Well, we kind of guessed that from the beginning, given that, Sean being
we've seen to the point where nobility. Well, it's not that nobility doesn't get you anywhere in Game of Thrones, because it does do stuff in the north. Because we've seen how the Boltons have had a hard time actually wrangling in the north, because they've had people straight up and say to their faces, like, I'll only follow a Stark. We only respect the king that is Stark. And they are big on loyalty there.
Yeah.
I think the Starks' biggest problem was that they didn't know when to leave their nobility beside. They didn't know when to break. And I'm not saying that, there is nobility in their choices to try and be the better people of that universe. But there are times where you have to do a little evil to accomplish some good. Like, let's not mince words about it. Like, it's an ugly world, and sometimes there's not a clean solution to stuff.
Right.
And they don't know when to throw down on that and when to compromise, because for them there is no compromise, and that has fucked them to the point where there are almost none of them left.
I think that was actually one of my biggest disappointments of this last season we watched, was the lack of Starks.
Well, when you parse it down, season 4 and season 5 have so few characters that you can really go like, that's a good guy and I'm really rooting for them. And they managed to turn around Jon Snow into one of those characters. Because before, he was kind of more of a whiny dude. And I wasn't so behind him up until season 4 and 5.
I liked him.
Where, well, in season 4 and 5, he gets his shit together. He starts to lead. He leads the defense of the wall, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty cool. And we get to see the Wildling army actually attack, which they've been pumping up for season after season, and it finally happens. So that's kind of cool. The big thing about season 5 is that we actually get to see the White Walkers attack in the Hardhome episode. Now that episode, for me, is like, whoa, shit.
It really gives a bit of context to how screwed they are.
Because, in a media that is like that, it's always show don't tell. And the thing that they've been pumping up is this dead army, and they've always, it's always telling you like, it's real bad, this shit is bad, we gotta band together, otherwise they're gonna screw us over. And you get the feeling that, yeah, it's a big deal.
Well, you see a few of them, you see like how much damage one or two can do.
But you always see it in the aftermath. Yeah. Like, you see a 300 Night's Watchmen, they're dead after their initial tangle with them. But you don't get to see it in action and how it happens. And in Hardhome, you get to see it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't end.
You sympathize with characters. It almost immediately makes you on the side of the Wildlings, which the Wildlings they've built up as they are freedom fighter characters to the point where they are so up to personal freedom that they are kind of just, they're dicks.
Yeah.
Like, they're assholes. Like, let's be straight. The nicest one of them, the one we like the most, is Tormund Giantsbane, and Tormund has murdered innocent people. Like, a lot of innocent people. Well, I don't know. He might not have done that. I don't know. It's hard.
But that's the thing, is that you can't definitively say he didn't rape someone.
No, I can't definitively say that. I could say that it would be weird for his character to do that, but I couldn't definitively say. But they all hate the Thens. Like, the Thens are cannibals, and they're like douchebags. Like, they're the douchiest of the douches. And when the zombies attack, it comes after this big, John is trying to convince them all,
like, big standoff.
We gotta fight together. And then even though like some of them are coming around to the side, like, yeah, we gotta do this, otherwise we're all gonna die. The Then leader is like, fuck you, I will never work with a crow. You guys, you murder, nothing will make me forget about our dead that is piled up over the centuries, because they've been at it for like thousands of years. Yeah. And it's like, no, fuck you, I will never work with you. Unless a giant ice army attacks in the next 5 minutes. Oh shit. Yeah. You remember that time I said go fuck yourself?
Allow me to bend over.
I love that because even then he says close the gates and closes the gates on like thousands of wildlings. And at first you're kind of like, wow, what a douchey thing to do because it's, this big ice storm is coming in. But then you see how quickly that, there were thousands of those guys before the gates. And you see how quickly they went, like, you don't get to see, but you get to see the fog and how quickly they went down to the ice zombies to the point where they're knocking on the door to get let in. And then suddenly it just stops.
Yep.
And I'm like, in that moment...
That's a pretty haunting scene.
It's chilling. It's more suspense than a lot of suspense thrillers I watch. A lot of horror movies I watch. Because it's like, oh no.
It's like all the sound stops. You just see all the characters kind of held their breath. And it's like, oh boy.
So even that callous of a decision, you go like, no. He probably saved a lot of lives by closing those gates as early as possible. And, he had to sacrifice like half their dudes to do that.
Yeah.
To save the other half. And it was like, yeah. And then they attack and shit goes from real bad to somehow worse to, oh my God, everyone run. Like, cause they show that the the walkers, they don't have much intelligence.
No.
But they're being led by these like white walkers that do the ice people,
Liches or something.
Yeah, whatever the hell they are. They have strategy. They
have intelligence.
They outflank them because they throw corpses over a cliff because what do they care? Because they're dead. They're already dead. So that's just piling on resources to a fight. And then not only that, it's this hard fought battle and it's horrifying and everyone's getting murdered and fucked up. And we see Tormund and Jon and some of the other Knights of Watchmen defending valiantly. And then, we even see the Thenn team up with him.
Well, you see Crows fight and die to defend wildlings.
Yeah. To get the chance of these guys to get on these boats to get the fuck out of there. And then we see the Thenn that said like, fuck you. Like he was the hardcore about not teaming up with the Crow. When shit goes down, he goes to Jon like, hey, let's go get that dragon glass. I got your back. Let's go. I'll cover you.
And it wasn't even like, Jon didn't even have to question like, oh my God, this could be a trick. He could betray me. No. There was never a thought like that.
Because shit has gone so sideways that worst enemies for thousands of years look to each other and go, okay, that's on hold until this shit is over. And yeah, he even tries to take on one of the White Walkers. He gets killed, and I felt kind of bad.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that sucks. And I'm like, wait, that dude is a cannibal murderer.
Yeah.
Why do I feel bad for him? And we find out, we get even more intel because we lose the dragon glass. Which
big loss. That kills them.
Yeah, and it's like, but even Jon is like, it doesn't matter. We would have needed like a shit. We would have armed every man with it, and we still would have been screwed. But we realize Valyrian steel is also a thing that can do it, which makes sense. Like the old Valyria, the oldest dynasty, the ones that would have known how to fight these things, which had that lost technology. So that's interesting. Valyrian steel is, of course, one of the more rarer materials, so they're still screwed that way.
So either way, they're fucked.
Yeah. So that's bad, right? So they somehow make it to the boats. One of our other favorite characters, like one of the German girls from Pitch Perfect 2 is a wildling, and she gets murdered by a bunch of fucking children zombies.
Yeah, that sucks.
Which sucked because she was kind of cool. And then, so yeah, that's bad enough. So they make it to the boats. All their dudes on the shore are dead, and they're basically taking cleanup. The fucking Ice King, or whatever the hell he is, comes over on the dock, stares down Jon Snow, looks around, he has his entire giant ice army zombie army behind him, and just raises his hands, and everybody in the battle, everyone that's just died, gets back up, and looks at him. And it's this ultimate power move, because then he didn't need to do that at all. It was just to go like, okay, some of you got away, but it's only a matter of time, guys. Only a matter of time. Because then it really sinks on it, because that's a good acting from Kit Harington too, because he gives a look like, it just sinks on them all like, wow, we didn't do anything to them. they didn't
lose anything. They gained.
They lost like maybe a couple of those zombies that can't hold themselves together anymore.
Yeah.
Like those really skeletal ones that they break completely apart. Like those are probably useless now.
Oh well.
Because they just gained how many to that army, because they were how many, like they lost half their dudes. It's like they only got 2,000 out there, and I think they started with 5 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you think that shit was a coincidence that as soon as they started thinking about a truce that the fucking ice zombie showed up?
Probably not.
I don't think so. I think that shit is strategic. And the only thing that gets me is that how the hell are they not over the wall and fucking over Westeros right now? Okay, but here's my theory. Okay, the wall isn't just like a physical wall. It's like a magical barrier.
Could be.
It's almost has to be. Because the way we've seen them operate,
Nick, there's White Walkers in the wall.
Well, we'll get to Attack on Titan in a minute. That's the only rationale I have on it. And then we'll see in the next season some stuff with Bran, because Bran's been absent for that season too.
Yeah, he didn't show up at all.
No. So not a single Hodor in the season. Not one Hodor. So obviously a markdown.
Yes. Automatic lose of a star.
So yeah, because that's the only thing, because the wildlings can climb the wall, like they've been known to do it, and they're mortal. They're mortal beings. So how do the White Walkers not do it? So that's the only thing I can get to. They
can also do something with winter. I mean, they obviously can only survive in extreme colds.
We see Cersei make the deal with the High Sparrows, and that goes completely wrong for her because
anyone could have told you that.
Because Cersei is always this person, like, everyone around her realizes that she's not as smart as she thinks she is. But what they underestimate about her is that how cruel and short-sighted, she is. Because she will take the chance to fuck you over, even if it fucks her over harder later, because she doesn't like to think about tomorrow. No. It's all about today. It's all about how I can fuck you today, and then tomorrow's problem is tomorrow's problem. She'd make a great Republican. I love how her story ends with that whole shame walk. The only thing that gets me is shame. I'm like, I don't know why that bell bothers me as much as it does, but like that's like out of all the things that happened to her, that's what annoys me the most, because the shame bitch, like that nun that rings the shame bell, that's the one thing I'm like, I'm trying to enjoy this character getting their comeuppance right now, and you're kind of ruining it for me right now. I don't know why, but could you not ring that bell right now?
Yeah, I don't feel bad for Cersei at all, because she brought everything on herself.
Yeah, and...
like, yeah, was her father a dick to her and make her marry someone she probably didn't want to? Yeah.
Well, the thing is that she undermined her own son's, and by extension, her own authority.
Right. Because she has no power without her son.
Hey, stupid, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And she did it to fuck over Marjorie. And let's be fair, Marjorie lorded it in her face like, oh yeah, I'm getting control of Tommen. It's only a matter of time before you're out of power completely.
Before I ship you off, to the castle.
And it's like, and there's no smart move for you to play to get yourself out of this. And then Cersei goes, aha, but you didn't think about the dumb move I can play. So, and then say her plan worked, like to a T, and that the Sparrows somehow don't fuck her over in the end.
Which would never happen.
Which would have almost been impossible, right? But let's say it did happen. She still is fucked because the Tyrells would not support a war or any claim.
Well, the thing is that the Tyrells are basically the ones keeping King's Landing functioning
without Tywin around, because we didn't even mention Tyrion killing his dad.
That was amazing.
Which was great. Like, that was fantastic. Like, I know it fucks over and kills probably a lot more people.
I don't care
because Tywin is around. But man, that was, and it's so brutal, so brutal.
He killed him with a crossbow. On the pot. I'm pretty sure that's still a Clue game. Like,
yeah.
The midget killed him with a crossbow in the toilet.
Little person, Travis. So we're playing politically correct Clue.
No, we're playing Clue.
No such thing as politically correct Clue. Yeah, I like Daenerys. Her storyline, that's pretty cool. I like how she feeds people to dragons.
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know.
I love how she's like, fine, I will make concessions. And then they fucking attack her. I'm like, dudes, she's gonna burn you all to the ground now.
Yeah.
She literally has no reason not to murder you all.
The thing about the assassination attempts is that it's really important that you actually kill the person that you're assassinating.
Especially if that person has dragons.
Yeah.
She's called the mother of dragons.
Well, she takes those dudes into the caverns, and you're just like, well, this isn't gonna work out for you guys. And I love how the head guy, one of the head slave owners, was just like afterwards was like, please let me live. What happened to All Men Must Die? I don't want to die as a coward. And what about now? I just don't want to die. He turns full Krillin. Yeah, and Jorah Mormont, like, suicidally trying to get redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, he's going to die anyway.
Yeah.
He has that grayscale or whatever it is.
Well, if he finds Stannis's, like...
Magical cure
that he gave his daughter. Oh, and let's talk about Stannis for a minute. Because Stannis gets fucked hard, and that's in Season 5.
Well, Melisandre is kind of a bitch.
Well, here's my thing. So... like, the blood of royalty is supposed to help her out with their magic or whatever.
Yes.
And if we believe that the leeches somehow affect probability to make Joffrey more susceptible to die, even though that was clearly a Littlefinger plot.
Yeah.
That was gonna happen probably no matter what. And, you know, like, she did the same thing for Robert Stark, but they all died from different machinations from, like, Tywin to, and then Lord Frey, Littlefinger. It was all other dudes. So the only thing she's actually done that's been for sure thing is the Shadow Demon vagina baby.
That was a thing. That happened.
Yeah, that happened. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's got some power backing her up. But so they need to get this thaw, and they decide to, you know, sacrifice his daughter to do it.
Yeah.
And it is a painful scene to watch, and that's saying something out of a series like Game of Thrones where every other scene is a painful scene to watch.
Well, this character was like the most innocent character in the show.
And she was basically the only reason you were rooting for Stannis in any way.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, Stannis is a dick. He probably would...
Not only that, well, there is the fact that Stannis actually been to the wall and knows that, yeah, this has to be taken care of.
He was one of the few characters that was like, okay, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna reinforce the Night's Watchman after I get into charge. He would have been a problem to deal with afterwards, but short term he would at least been better than the Boltons in the North.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as Littlefinger, like, the farther we go in the series, the more I'm sure that he is the master manipulator, supervillain Loki of this universe. Because he sets it up to no matter what happens in the North, he has an in either way and wins kind of either way.
All I can say, though, is that Stannis' wife, wow, what a pathetic character.
Yeah, she has that turn of just, like, at the last second, I'm gonna feel bad about what I'm doing, and like, oh shit.
She's basically promoted the murder of her daughter through multiple seasons, and then when it actually happens, she goes, "Oh my god, I didn't want this to actually happen," and then she hangs herself, and I'm like,
I feel like it's not a coincidence that the episode after we lose any relation, like any way to relate to Stannis, because that's the one thing that we like about Stannis is that, like, you know, the mom says, you know, that girl deserves the rod, and then Stannis is like, you will not touch her, and it's like, okay. You know what? This guy is a stick up his ass, you know, kind of royalty prick, but he has respect. He respects loyalty, and he's got that daughter that he is like this sickly young daughter that doesn't really provide him any political advantage, and he's like, no, that's my kid. Fuck anyone that wants to fuck with her, and you could respect that from him. Like, as much as he was a stone dude. He loved his daughter, and he showed it to her on multiple occasions. And, like, and it even showed, like, the one time he was soft and bought her that horse, she got infected with it. And, like, that speaks a lot to his character and why he is the way that he is.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then the episode after that, we lose all that, and then...
Well, let's not figure out he sent his conscience away.
Yeah.
That's the main problem.
And
he sent the Onion Knight back to the wall,
and the Boltons fuck him up. And
Ramsay,
Ramsay, whew. If I could, I never thought I could hate anyone more than Joffrey, but like, he's like Joffrey, but effective. Like, but he's actually like good at like. Good
if Joffrey was smart,
yeah. So yeah, and Brienne gets her revenge, so that's pretty cool because Brienne's been looking for that. It finally gives Brienne a win.
Yeah.
But she does fuck up and not see the light for Sansa, so that sucks for her.
Mm-hmm. But hey, Sansa's at least attempting to get out.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, and we end with that.
Which, okay, I will say that when that stupid bitch that was antagonizing the whole time gets thrown off the wall and snaps her neck, I was like, I clapped. I actually did clap. So I'm like, yes, thank you. That was annoying.
Basically, female Ramsay.
Right, the little psycho. And I'm like, if only they could have also done that to Ramsay, I would have clapped double.
Yeah, well, then it's like, oh, this will piss Ramsay off, so that makes me happy. And then, of course, Theon is like, well, I went this far, we gotta go, because there's no way I make it out of this.
No. I mean, well, he already doesn't have a dick, so...
Yeah, and I every time I think back to the show, like, remember when I thought Theon, like, man, Theon's such an asshole.
Well,
like,
to be fair, a lot of this shit happened because Theon did things.
Yeah, and then, but, so many things happened to him to a point, I'm like, man, you know what, I
mean, I feel bad for him, but at the same time...
I wouldn't switch many people into your place, but I do feel bad, like, nah, that shouldn't happen to anybody.
No.
That's messed up, man. Like, that's so messed up. He gets beat down to like a dog, and it's sad, and it's just like, and he was from this noble house, like, he was a whiny little shit, but like, he had pride in himself, and it's just beaten out of him.
Cock.
It's sad. So to see him regain any kind of individuality at all, it's kind of uplifting, even for a character that we just never really even liked.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Jaime. Jaime gets some character development to the point where I'm like, man, I really like Jaime. And that's the weakest part of season 5 is probably that Dorne is not a very interesting place.
No.
And it takes a long time for one thing to happen in Dorne, because the only thing that's happening in Dorne is that Jaime and Bronn are going to save Marcella. And that's all that happens in Dorne the entire season. And I'm like, how does this take a whole season?
And they fail that in any way.
Yeah, and they totally fucked that up. The Dorne like sets up some more interesting people, like the king and that his bodyguard and some of those sand vipers and stuff that we will not see in the next season at all. So yeah, I feel like Dorne was kind of a wasted opportunity because, like, Bronn and Jaime, like, man, that should be a great combo. Again, that's what this show is really good at, is teaming up people that have not been teamed up together before.
True.
But yeah, so that was fun for Game of Thrones. I think we were talking about that one long enough. Should we move on to anime version of Game of Thrones / Walking Dead? Let's talk about Attack on Titan.
Yes. Season 2.
So season 2, we, as far as this recording, we've seen up until episode 5.
Was it 5? I thought it was 4.
No, we made it to episode 5
really?
because
Okay.
there's 6 available right now, but we only ended up watching 5.
Okay.
And out of a 12 episode season, because they shortened this one up because they didn't want to wait even longer for the... Man, that manga series is really long coming out, apparently. So yeah, Attack on Titan. We will also be spoiling this one, including stuff that happened in season 1, because we can't really talk about the show without spoiling it, because there's a big reveal in episode 1. So, this show about giant, naked zombie giants that eat people whole. It's weird.
Yeah.
And it hits the ground running this season, because in the previous season, they make some pretty big revelations that, like, whoa, one of their own can turn into a Titan. That's not the first time this has happened. There are other people that can, turn into Titans and control Titans. They capture the female Titan, which is one of their own team. They realize that, oh shit, like, if one of them could be on their own team, there could be more. There could be more. There could be multiple. There could be a whole conspiracy. And it shows that this isn't just a supernatural force. There's some sort of intelligence going on with the Titans. Someone set the Titans after these guys, after humanity, basically.
Yeah.
And we still don't have an answer on who or why did that.
Actually, we got a little bit more answer. It seems like there's at least more than one faction.
Yeah, so that's why I want to start talking about Season 2. So Season 2 starts off where the last one, it picks up where the last one left off, and with the giant fight between the female Titan and Eren. And during the fight, a hole gets busted in the wall, and we see a Titan inside the wall. And it's like, what the fuck is that? And one of the priests come up and says, whatever you do, don't let light touch it. Mm-hmm. And as we know, the Titans, they operate on some sort of solar power. They get more lethargic. They don't have as much energy during the nighttime when light is not hitting them. So they're somehow solar powered, even though they do operate at night, and they seem to sometimes be able to operate at night depending on what's happening. But so we get the reveal later that the wall is made out of, I think you called this earlier too.
Yes.
Of just like, okay, so the wall is made from hardened Titan skin.
Right.
Which has been shown to be kind of like diamond-like impenetrable. Mm-hmm. Or at least really hard to break.
Well, from the special ones.
From the special ones. So they start questioning the priest guy. He doesn't want to reveal anything. And maybe it's just because he's a religious dude and my inner agnostic / atheist, depending on how I'm feeling, is busting out. But I'm like, man, fuck this guy. Why doesn't he tell everybody what's going on? But then again, it's like, wow, this is some crazy, crazy knowledge to drop onto some people. But you feel like the Survey Corps should probably know about it.
You'd think.
But
in fact, they kind of bring that up, like, why the fuck don't we know?
Yeah,
we're out there risking our lives.
Why don't we know about this? And so, yeah, that brings up a lot of questions, because that means that someone, at least a couple people, knew how to control Titans to a certain extent, and to make the walls out of their skin, to make the wall like that. And that's how, like, okay, so that makes sense of how they made it in probably such a short amount of time, because that was one of the things about the series, is like, how
doesn't make sense.
How do they construct this much wall in order to retreat there when the Titans are attacking?
Because they've even said how, like, a problem they're having fixing the other parts of the wall, because it takes so long to send resources out.
Yeah, so it was always a question in the series, is how they develop these walls. So now we get an answer to that. And we also get some new characters that are babysitting our old characters, which is, our older characters, they're being under suspicion for possibly being Titans.
Right.
It turns out later, kind of rightfully so.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. They don't have their ODM gear. They decide, like, they get caught with their pants down because there's a Titan attack. Like, they think Walrose has been breached.
Yeah, which is kind of a major thing, because that means they're fucked.
Yeah, so immediately I'm like, wait, why are there only 9 Titans in this group? Why does it seem like there's this small strike team of Titans rather than just a wide swath of them?
Which then, I had a theory that it was supposed to be like a survey team.
Mm-hmm. And so that made a sense to a certain extent, especially we had to see the Sasquatch Beast Titan, who is made of a fur. He can actually talk. He controls the Titans, not unlike the female Titan could to a certain extent. And we see one of our new leadership type characters get murdered, and of course I forgot like how little dignity they leave anyone who dies in this show. I'm like, man, did you have to do him like that? That felt wrong. And so, but the fucking here, the Beast Titan is like, whoa, what is that device that lets you fly through the air?
Yeah, he doesn't know what ODM.
He doesn't know what it is, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I thought the female Titan was one of your spies, and she's known what ODM gear is for, like, at least, like, say she just got there, in order to, in time to join up with the Survey Corps. She's known it for 3 years. She's never got a message back.
Depending on how far away they are.
Sure, and I'm like, I guess, but how do you not, like, it feels like this is, ODM gear has been around for a long time. Like, how do you not know what it is? They've been going, Survey Corps has been going outside the walls on missions to attack and to try and take back some territory with the ODM gear. How do you not know what it is? So immediately I'm like, okay, are there two separate groups of human Titan controller hybrid people? And now I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, there's at least 2. At least 2. So yeah, they're freaked out because of that. They meet Connie's old town. Meet up at his old town. They find that there's no bodies there, but the houses are all trashed and wrecked. There's one Titan on top of his house that's alive, but like it's half of it's
it's not functioning.
Yeah, half of it's formed, and I immediately went like, this one I call because I was like,
you did call this.
I immediately went, holy shit! This looks exactly like what happened when Aaron half transformed his a Titan body around him in order to defend himself from that cannon fire.
Yeah, you called this one quick too.
So I was like, holy shit! That means that they've been turning humans into Titans, and some of them haven't formed right, like the one that's probably his mom.
The
Connie's
one says
mom.
"Welcome home" to him. Jesus fucking Christ!
I forgot how dark this show gets.
Right?
This show is so fucking dark. But yeah, and then they think, well, maybe they're alive because there's no bodies around. I'm like, there's no bodies around because they all got turned into those Titans you've all been fighting.
They even saw it's like there was horses. Where did they go without the horses?
Which is a thing. So I'm like, I did wonder, like, where do the Titans come from? Like, they're like, are they generated from nothing? Like, what is their deal? They evaporate into nothing when you cut them in the nape. But
well, it's interesting too because like the Sasquatch Titan even said like, "Oh, we reside in the neck."
Yeah, so
like that's a very specific phrase.
And so, like, because that's when he sees the swords, he's like, oh, okay, so that's how they fight us. And they use the ODM gear to move around, so, like, that's the way they developed to fight us. It feels like he's probably recently to the team, or recently scouting stuff.
Or maybe he might just be the one causing all this, like, the inside the wall part.
He could, yeah.
Which we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah, and then, so, yeah, I immediately realized that, like, okay, so this was a Titan creation gone wrong, which probably means that everyone in this town got to be created to a Titan, which probably explains the team. So that means that there is no breach in the wall. Someone came over, or was already here, but that doesn't make sense because the Beast Titan doesn't know what ODM gear is. I'm assuming he had to have come from the outside.
Maybe. It's hard to say.
But yeah, they came in and started using us as, like, or humans as resources to create Titans in order to fight the Survey Corps and just cause trouble, apparently. And I guess the only thing the Titan gets is that he gets information and he gets the ODM gear. Like, I think they might, and it's not a coincidence, it's probably not a coincidence that it happened right as the female Titan is in that battle.
Right.
I'm thinking that, like, they sense that that's a thing that happens, and they somehow sense it or get a message, and they go, oh shit, let's go try and figure out what's going on. And they, I don't know, like, or it could just be a coincidence. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's so many hidden agendas on this show.
There's so many questions. You kept asking me questions, and I tried to tell them, like, stop asking me, I don't know.
Well, see, that's the brilliance about this show, is that it's kind of like Lost in the fact that they, every question that they answer, it brings up, like, 2 more questions. And, the only thing that I think I don't appreciate as much is that the character development, it's like, it's not like it's bad or anything, like with Sasha and Connie and Thomas and some of the other guys.
I was surprised Sasha lived.
Well, I feel like there's some characters are safe enough until the point where we need to lose a bigger character and feel a little more tension. Because, like, they kill people so horribly that it's hard. I feel like it would be hard to watch some of the people that we've grown to know.
That you know for 2 seasons now.
It's hard to watch when because later we get the Survey Corps, the 4 dudes that have escorted them, they hold up in this castle, and they get attacked, they get blitzed by fucking all the Titans that are left, apparently, and the Beast Titan is there kind of commanding them. And they get blitzed over, and shit looks like it's going pretty well for them, but then they have a second wave show up. The Beast Titan takes out 2 of them instantly with, like, a fucking rock from, like, a long distance, so he was just like, wow, what a bitch. And the 2 that are left have, like, just go out in a way where, like, the one female leader is babbling about her dad
don't
beating
beat
her.
Me. I was like, Jesus,
like, I won't do it again, Dad. Like, she's
having flashback.
Well, she's in shock, and she's already gotten one of her limbs eaten off of. She's being eaten by multiple Titans. Same thing with the first episode with the other dude that was supposed to be like, he's second only to Levi, he's super good, but he gets fucked over by the Beast Titan because he can throw a horse fastball. And that's what I think I like about the show too, is that the Titans, it shows that the Titans are threats not to be taken lightly. Mm-hmm. Like, as good as you can get, as good as you can be on the ODM gear,
takes just a mistake.
All it takes is just one wrong, like, move, and sometimes not even a wrong move, just a really unlucky thing happening.
Mm-hmm. Like a horse flying at you.
Well, even the guys who did it perfect, like the chick, like she, up until the end, she saved her buddy that fell and hit his head. She does almost everything right up until the fell. She runs out of gas for her gear, and she can't move after that.
And there were just more Titans than she could handle.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, so, like, even that, and then, yeah, they don't give him her dignity, they don't give the guy dignity.
No one gets dignity.
All he wants is that last drink, and even they couldn't give him that.
Nope.
The show couldn't give him that win. He has to go to his death completely stone sober. Damn. So, yeah, so on one hand, I do like this show, and is it compelling, and I will watch it to the end. Sometimes that callousness of the death,
darkness,
that it can really get to me. Like, you know, when it happened in the first episode, I was just like, ooh, damn, that's, it does show that, like, no matter how much of a badass you are, sometimes it's just like, hey, when death is coming at you, when something really horrible is, it's just like, man, dude, it's just, it's rough.
Sometimes we can't tell death, not today.
Yeah. And I can get that from that perspective, but I don't know, like that, the girl, when she was muttering that thing about her dad, that, like, haunted me for, like, a couple days afterwards.
That's
like,
just... Why would you need to give that character that kind of development at the very last second of her life?
That on one hand, it's probably it's good that it stuck with me, that it affected me like that. But on the other hand, I was just like, man, that kind of ruined my day of just like this character that I barely knew. But on the flip, it's a character I barely knew, but it has impact because of how fucking horrible it is. So it establishes stakes. Because these people up on the tower, they're screwed. And like I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, okay, they gotta wait for a Deus Ex Machina, or one of them has to be a Titan. And that was like my immediate thought. I was like, okay, that's the only two things here. And, because...
Yeah, well, apparently that character was also waiting for a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, cause it's like, you know, they're not afraid to kill... Well, they are, like, some of the characters feel safe.
Yeah.
Like, they feel pretty safe. Like, Aaron gets a early fucked over thing, and his whole team that was with him earlier, but we barely knew those guys. There were a couple other characters that got brought along, and the minute you saw them, you're like, these people are being developed so that they can die later, and then they won't be part of the main crew, so I won't miss them that much, but they'll be more weighted than other characters.
The show does actually have it's good at developing characters on the quick.
Yeah, it does a lot with a little, because it has so little time to do stuff. But one of the things I gotta knock the show for is just that the backstory with Sasha and Connie, and even someone with Thomas, like they go into it a little bit. I'm just like, they make these big revelations, and then they spend 2 episodes developing small side characters. Right. And I'm annoyed because I'm like,
well, especially in Sasha's always seemed backwards. How she's the one that doesn't want to progress, and like the old guy was the one that wanted to, and I'm like,
well, in season 1 when they did it and they developed people in the training, it was training, and the big threat was over. In this one, we're on episode 5, and we're still dealing with the initial threat of this survey team. Like we're still not done with it. The next episode will be the wrap up of that. We're halfway done with the season. And it feels like we're spinning our wheels whenever we're going flashback date with Sasha. And I'm just like, I don't care. I want to get to the next plot thing. If there was some downtime later, like during a later thing between this mission and the next one, I probably wouldn't mind as much. But on the side right now, I'm like, no, there's urgency.
There's shit to get to.
There's urgency in the plot, which... normally I don't make that argument. Normally I'm all about like, no, let the characters breathe. I like a show that can do character development. But I don't know, there's
a place and time.
There's a place and time, and then the Attack on Titan characters, they just, I realized that they're not super well developed yet, and I should be more excited, like, oh, we're taking some time to know Sasha, but it's during a time where I'm like, I don't care right now.
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to get to the next thing. Like, what's the next big reveal? Because there's huge stuff to deal with that the characters aren't even talking about yet, because we're waiting for the characters to catch up to the fact that there is no hole in the wall.
Well, to be fair, the thing that we're also interested in is world building, which is very interesting.
And, you know, and then Sasha's thing, like, where her dad is telling her, like, hey, we need to have compassion and all that. And so that's neat. That Titan she fights, it is weird because
it changes size.
It changes sizes more than Ang Lee's Hulk from that movie, where it was just like, wait a minute. You fit in the house before. You were barely bigger than a regular human, and now it feels like you're 5 times as big.
Right.
But yeah, I like Sasha and Connie, and as far as side characters, Thomas is still my man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I have a sneaking suspicion his story is going to reflect a little bit more, not unlike Yimmer and Christina. Like, he might be part of that whole Titan thing as well. Well, because the only thing I'm thinking of, like, everybody else has a well-established backstory, but the other characters that don't seem to all be part of this Titan team.
True.
Like, cause who's the characters we know the least about? You know, we knew the least about Annie, Christina, and Ymir. And what happened with all those people? Oh, they turned out to have a secret backstory. And then I feel like that's the same thing with Thomas. The only thing we know about that guy is that his brother saved him one time. And that took a whole fucking season and a half to get to. The only other thing I know about him is that dude's a badass.
Well, no, he does have the friend with him, though.
Uh-huh.
His nameless friend who was...
How is that guy not dead yet?
I don't know. He's like basically wearing a red shirt all the time.
I completely forget that guy between scenes. I forget that he's there. Because I was just like, well, man, these 5 guys are screwed. 6. Sorry, what's your name? Fuck. I forget you're here. But...
And I did also have an interesting theory, though, when we did see the fact that the wall has Titans in it, and they have this church, you know, worshipping the wall. Then I'm like, I remember thinking initially, like, oh, wait, what if the Titans are trying to get at something inside the wall? And what if that's what the church is worshipping? Is that there's some kind of, in the furthest reaches of this, there's something inside the wall.
Well, and then that makes sense to me, is the fact that, you know, that the reason they break down the wall at gates is probably not only because it's the weakest point, but it's also the point where the Titans wouldn't get hurt when they break down the wall. So that makes sense to, like, why they keep breaking down certain sections of that wall where the gates are. They've got to have some sort of plan for the humans that involves something with resources or something, because there's no reason that these Titans couldn't just knock down all these walls. Like with that colossal Titan, like, I don't understand why they aren't just running shit yet. Unless the colossal Titan can only show up every 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked how this last one ended. I'm really excited to see the next one, because we get the reveal that Ymir has protected Christina for the whole time, and in her last act of protection, she jumps down at all the Titans, cuts herself, and turns into an Eren type.
Like, all I could say is that when she was like getting ready, I'm like, girl, you better turn into a Titan.
Yeah,
she's jump up. You better be turning into a Titan.
Well, the thing is that show. I'm like, okay, I'm like 75% sure that she's going to turn into a Titan.
She's jumping off a building. You're still like, I'm pretty sure you're turning into a Titan.
The thing is that I'm not 100% because the show would do that, would have her just jump in and fall to her death. Man, I'm going to be, if I'm in part of that crew, I'm going to be a little pissed at her if she's like, oh, so you could have done that, I don't know,
before the last 4 people died?
Dude, even after the other 2 get instantly pulverized, where you realize, oh, shit has not gone our way.
Right.
We're not going to make it out of this. You couldn't have saved those last 2 people. They had to die like that.
Well, you gotta remember, one of the people that's still alive has a broken arm.
But I'm getting the feeling that they have that whole secret society thing that, you know, because that's what the church said, is like, hey, protect Christina. Like, that's the one we were supposed to, or either protect or keep an eye on, or...
Yeah, they said observe.
Something. I have a feeling that must be some sort of protection thing, because otherwise, if they knew she was a Titan, like, why wouldn't they murder her? Unless they are super worshipful of Titans.
I don't know.
It's hard to tell when there's... It's established that there's at least 2 crews of Titan people. So, and I hope... Man, I can't decide if I hope Thomas is not a Titan person or if he is. Because I swear to God, he looks a lot like the Armored Titan. But that wouldn't make a lot of sense to his character at all. So I'm conflicted, because I'm like, okay, the Armored Titan has to be somebody. And I'm like, okay, it's either Thomas or it's his buddy. Because they have the same type of hair... And the hair is like sometimes is the same color when you turn into a Titan, but sometimes isn't, because sometimes you turn into a Sasquatch beast monster person. So I don't know how the transformation works. But yeah,
Watch you find out that the Sasquatch beast actually just looks like that as a human.
Well, Thomas has had a lot of close calls with these Titans.
Yeah, he has.
I mean, it would explain, like, maybe why he's gotten out of his situations, but that would make, man, that would suck, because that would make his moment with Annie getting away from the female Titan a lot less badass.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, she totally let him get away then. Unless he's part of the other faction that's working against her.
Stop asking me questions.
See, this is what gets me about that show, is that you can speculate all day and night, and they want you to do it. They love this shit. They love it when people go on podcasts and talk about, like, they think this is happening. We'll wait until the next episode where that theory gets completely torn to shreds. I think they relish in it.
Oh, they might.
So yeah, I'm really engaged. I am just as engaged as the first season.
Well, at first we were like, we'll watch 1 episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, 4, 5. Fuck, there's no more.
It has that thing where it knows how to end on the big cliffhanger, just like Lost did, where it's like, fuck, I gotta watch the next one.
Yep.
God damn it.
So there wasn't any more. They were like, God damn it.
Yeah, and it's got that, because it knows it. As much as I complain about the pacing of those flashback episodes, it knows how to go, like, there's this thing that's coming up next episode, and you're like, and you want to watch that shit right now, don't you? I'm like,
Kinda do.
With the fact that it's only going to be 12 episodes, I'm a little mad that we only know so much from these first 5. I feel like we've barely started, and we're already
almost halfway.
We're almost halfway done, and I'm like, damn it. But we will see how it finishes off. I'm feeling that this will be a 2-arc season, where the initial this will be the end of that survey thing with the Beast Titan. They'll have an episode of catch up and then planning, and then the next episode will be whatever mission they have to do. Probably sending Aaron to his home, because that seems like that seems like the next logical step. If that's not the next thing, it must be another immediate threat they have to deal with. So yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other things, any other theories or whatever before we move on?
Not right now.
No,
I'm sure we can make more speculation later.
So yeah, that was Attack on Titan. What should we move into next? Let's talk about Samurai Jack.
All right,
because we watched the last, because we did the review. The first 5 episodes, it had a couple audio issues that I didn't realize were there when I uploaded it, so that's my bad. It's still listenable, but there are some clipping stuff in there.
Yeah.
But we did end up watching the next 2 episodes of Samurai Jack. So we watched the Ashi's transformation, and averting Jack's suicide.
Yeah.
And
apparently she was naked the whole time.
Yeah, or her body was covered in
soot.
ash and soot and like this weird shit,
which makes her naked.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa, that's it's dark. And she runs around and she just goes around to these different people. It's basically like a hit list of previous Samurai Jack characters.
It's basically a clip show.
Yeah, of just like, hey, remember this when Jack did this thing for us? And like, it's all the people he's ever helped, and they're like, it's like, hey, you let Jack know that like he needs me. I got his back. We got him. So they have an army in the background. Wings. They have it ready to go. And then we see Ashi go to a rave and dance to the Jack song, which is interesting. She washes all that shit off of her body, and she gets a new jungle outfit. That's a little like, oh, that's weird.
Probably chafes.
Yeah. And and then she saves Jack from his
spiritual suicide.
Yeah. Which is apparently a real thing because she gets to see she sees the demon samurai thing too.
I thought it was just like some kind of vision of
metaphor.
I thought it was a vision of Aku.
It's like, nope, that's an actual thing. So yeah, that leads us to the next episode though, which is they got to get the sword back, and yeah, so he lost the sword previously when the last time portal went down, and Aku was like, okay, I got the last time portal. I'm going to peace out until you die of old age. Before that, I'm going to turn these sheep friends that you had, I'm going to turn them into monsters, and I'm going to force you to kill them. And except for Jack didn't seem to realize that that's what they were.
Yeah, I still don't get that, because he seemed very traumatized when he realized that they were the little sheep friends.
Oh my god, I'm like, whoa, that wasn't super obvious to you?
Yeah.
But fine, whatever.
Like, Aku doesn't really produce things out of nowhere. Like, they can build robots, yeah, but...
So anyway, it turns out it's he needs to go on a spiritual journey to get the sword, because the sword is this magical thing that it's because he lost his way spiritually rather than losing the sword physically. I think he says, like, the sword left him.
Yeah.
And then Ashi is left defending his body, a la, like, Avatar The Last Airbender, like, that, you know, that whole episode in season 3 where they all gotta defend against the Red Lotus when Korra transports herself into the spirit world.
Yes.
So it's very much like that, only the Tartakovsky version, so they just go through crazy visual after crazy visual in the spirit world. And then Ashi destroys a whole army single-handedly.
Of Orkmen, yeah. That was pretty awesome.
She doesn't even grab a weapon.
No,
she just
like beats the shit out of him. Well, she does grab an orc.
To death. just to death, like. And she has to, that culminates in her fighting her mom. So that was interesting because even then it brings up like, hey, you sided with the man that killed your sisters, like, and Ashi, like, I thought that would be a big thing with Ashi that might make her question. Is like, like, nah, that they made her choice. We were what we were made, and like she doesn't even blame either side. It was just like, no, like he defended himself. We came at him completely in the wrong. We didn't know it at the time. So I thought
because that's what we were made to do.
So I thought that would be. I don't know. I thought that would have been I thought that would take more episodes because like it's done after this.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, she stands up to her mom and takes the side of the samurai and
throws her off a cliff.
Throws an arrow at her to throw her off her cliff. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, so Ashi and the mother of Aku's children or whatever the hell it is, or hell she is, Great Alile's evil mom character. They obviously have super strength. Like that's immediately apparent.
No, Nick, they're just on a giant ceramic mountain.
Yeah, because they're punching through rocks and it's like, okay, so they're not normal people, right? No. They're superhuman. And we gotta get Ashi a weapon because she's like using like horns from dead sheep.
That's traumatizing.
Yeah, that was weird. You know, arrows that are left around.
Well, she had that Kurosagama for a while. She just got rid of it, I guess, when she got naked.
Yeah, I guess it was part of her old life, so she had to really go. I'm like, okay, that's cool, and I get that, but like maybe a new weapon, a stick or something like. But yeah, we have. What's it? We have we're up to episode 7, which means we have 3 episodes left, I think.
No, we have the sword back. We have an army.
Well, you know, the next episode will be hooking up with the Scotsman, hooking up with the army, maybe another conflict that they have to, you know, overcome, and then like another episode facing Aku. And I'm just like, well, where's another episode of content? Like, because like we're if not an episode from the end, we're, you know, at the farthest 2 episodes from the end, and it's like. Because for me, it's just like, okay, Jack's got his sword back. Everything's cool, right? Because we've shown that, like, up against the sword, Aku, you know, he's a slippery one, that's for sure. But he can't face the sword. Like, there's no way.
Right.
So the only contention is that they have to pin him into his home base, probably,
which will take an episode.
They got to pin him down, and they got to make sure he can't escape. Like he can't get away,
right?
Because that's the only thing that's been keeping him alive these last couple years is that he can eke away at the last minute before the killing blow.
Well, that and Jack was always more interested in the time portals than killing Aku.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like he always treated this as secondary. Well, in Jack's mind, like he always wanted to do the right thing by this world. But if he were to, you know, go back in time, technically, well, I don't know how the time travel works in this, but wouldn't it be that Aku's vision of the future never would have happened? Like, it could be like that, but then again, it could be another time travel thing where they're, the Dragon Ball Z logic where like, no, all you do is to create parallel timelines. Right. Like, there's no going back and changing whatever timeline you're in, or the Marvel continuity, I like to say, I like to put it as, that's what they create an alternate universe every time anyone time travels. So yeah, I'm still quite on board with it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm interested to see what will happen now that Jack has the sword back and we're back to classic Jack.
Yes. Because the gods also gave him a shave.
So, yeah, and then like, you think he's gonna hook up with Ashi? You think that's going down?
That could be a thing.
I'm interested because I'm like, I see that online as like, people are confused. Like, I've never seen shippers confused on what to ship before, because it's like, I mean, I think, like, because it's, they seem to kind of have this awkward, like, I like your hair, I like, I like your clothes, and they've said that back and forth to each other. But other than that, it's been more of like this journey thing, and I've gotten more of a Lone Wolf and Cub / Logan X-23 thing out of it. But it could easily go to a romantic place as well.
I think it could.
As far as Ashi's character, I thought like, it would take longer for her to flip completely to the good side, and now she's firmly entrenched into the good side. Yes. So I'm like, okay, well, her character arc's pretty much done. Like, it's pretty much over. Because there's no temptation. Like, the only temptation she would have had would have been her mother character. Because Aku can't tempt her. Like, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Plus, does Aku even know she exists?
I don't know. He might. I mean, I feel like he probably has the vague sense that she exists, like, in the fact that he's got a bunch of plans to try and take out the samurai. But it's been like 50 years. Who knows? So, yeah, I'm very curious as to how the last couple episodes are going to be paced.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple episodes to go, and I'm not sure if they have, like, what their content's going to be.
They can't have 3 episodes be the final battle. Like, that just won't work.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I think that's pretty much all I want to cover for Simra Jack. It'll be interesting because we might have to do a whole separate like vlog series in the upcoming summer because Steven Universe is coming back in a big way.
Yay!
So we'll cover that. Before we get out of here, I did want to cover the Arrowverse a little bit.
Okay.
Because it came up. Legends of Tomorrow ended in its big superhero finale. And of course, it's the big thing of that show is that its time travel never made any sense to begin with.
They barely follow their own rules.
So they have the big thing. Okay, so spoilers also for anyone who's watching the Arrowverse shows right now. I'm going to be spoiling a lot of what's going on in the initial twists, like Savitar's identity, Prometheus's identity from Arrow, and the Legends finale. So if you want to go and we'll see you next time if you don't want to get spoiled for that. Okay, so yeah, the Legends season finale happens, and through shenanigans, they have to go back in time to a point they've already been to save the day. And they have to team up with their previous past selves to do it. That's always been a no-no for the timeline, even though they've broken that rule a couple of times. Like, I feel like they forget that Heatwave was Kronos, and that Kronos chased them throughout multiple events that he already took place in as Heatwave. I'm like, yeah, that's because one was in a mask that he tricked the Timeverse because he was in a mask.
Ooh.
Come on, really? But this season has been, I don't want to say, well, it has been a little bit better, but it's still like, it's so fast and loose with this fucking time travel logic. So yeah, the Eobard Thawne is the Reverse Flash. It's kind of showed that the only reason he keeps Merlin and Damien Dark around is because he needs someone to operate while he's running away from Death Flash. Because there's a Black Flash that's in charge of keeping reality kind of in check, and Eobard Thawne is supposed to not exist anymore because of the events that happened in Flash Season 1. And through shenanigans in Flashpoint, he's alive, and he's not really supposed to be. So the time stream is trying to set that right. So they suck, Black Flash on him, who was actually Zoom from Season 2 of Flash.
Okay,
these shows get super complicated, okay? You're just gonna have to go with it. So, yeah, he only uses them, and it gets to a point where he is so overpowered that when they come back and they show that, like, okay, we're gonna go back into our own time and we are gonna change events, but that means that we will, after the events have been changed and we save the day, we will no longer exist because we are time remnants now. We will fix ourselves as the remnants, so we will no longer exist after this mission.
So you kill yourself.
So, well, yeah, that means that they're fair game to kill. So immediately they kill Ray Palmer as soon as the mission starts because because the reverse slash comes up like, I should have done this from the start. Immediately jumps in, grabs his heart, rips his beating heart out of his chest. Ray looks at it and he dies.
Yeah, I feel like you should have done that from the start.
And it brings up that fact immediately, that Reverse Flash has constantly been completely stupid this whole time. Like, the fact that he has not, like, I'm like, okay, he could have won at almost any point with his power level, because Ray was probably one of the most powerful members of the team with his fucking suit,
right,
and his shooty thing, and his shrinking, and Reverse Flash just showed, like, oh yeah, I can totally take his ass out. Like, it's not even a thing.
Yeah, there's always that, supervillain megalomania that prevents them from doing that.
So they take part in the final battle, only Reverse Flash fucks off for most of it.
Okay.
Because he has to go back and get backup.
Okay.
Which, I'm like...
Why?
Thank you, Travis.
Okay.
For saying the thing that I said throughout this entire episode was, why would he need to do that when he's immediately ripped fucking Ray Palmer's heart out? How is anyone else on that team a threat?
I feel like you're just wasting time.
He does. He wastes so much time. And what does he do?
I mean, I guess if you can time travel, what's the point of wasting time? But
he goes back and he gets versions of himself, because he figures if the Legends are doing it, it's cool for him to do it. So he goes back and he gets a bunch of Reverse Flashes to fight the Legends. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is more intimidating, but really one Flash has been shown that he can take out the entire team, or one Reverse Flash has been shown he's a super big threat. I don't get what 20 Reverse Flashes are gonna do. Anyway, they save the day, and they manage to beat the Reverse Flash. They fix the time stream, they fix the reality.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah, until they think they're like, oh shit, we might have broken time, because they crash the ship because of the time wave that happens, and they get out, and it's Central City or whatever, except that it has Big Ben in it, and like there's dinosaurs, and like everything is fucked. And it's just like, way to go, guys. You had one job, and you didn't even do it. That being said, I've immensely enjoyed this season way more than season 1.
Yeah.
Well, it's been more fun. And
it seems like that kind of show would be the point.
Oh yeah, that show has always been a little more fun, a little more loosey-goosey with its rules and with its characters. And I wouldn't be watching it if it wasn't superheroes, if it wasn't superhero TV, but it's alright. As far as Arrow is going, they finally revealed who Prometheus is.
Okay.
And it's actually, we thought it actually turns out to be Adrian Chase, the defense attorney that shows up in this season. We thought he was the vigilante. That's the big switcheroo, is that you thought he was the vigilante, but it turns out he kills the vigilante, or maybe doesn't. We don't know. He throws the vigilante off of a roof, and we never hear about the vigilante again.
Okay.
I'm like, really? Like, did they find a body? Is he dead? What happened? Is the vigilante not on the show anymore?
Disappeared.
But no, he's Prometheus, and he hates Oliver because he killed his dad, apparently.
I feel like there'd be a lot of people like that.
There's a big reveal. Like, I feel like there's one more big reveal that we must have for this character and like why he's done all this. But it must have something to do with Flashpoint, I'm thinking. But,
okay.
Talia al Ghul has been showing up in this season.
Finally.
She's wasted here.
Yeah.
She doesn't really do a whole lot. She is mad about Arrow killing Ra's al Ghul. It's like, how dare you do that? I'm like, it's weird that you waited this long to get any sort of revenge. That's a weird fucking thing to do.
The fact that you weren't mentioned anywhere else.
Yeah. And then, we have, the Felicity Oliver contention reaches its head in one of the more recent episodes, where she's teamed up with this hacker group called Helix, which is basically an allegory for Anonymous. And I'm so sick of Felicity being, for lack of a better term, a bitch. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't like saying that about Felicity because I used to really like her.
She's my favorite part of the season.
She's become like one of the worst parts about Arrow.
Not really selling the show for me.
I would really heavily recommend you don't watch it. Like, if I didn't feel like I was gonna review this for an episode with Ed and Zach later, I probably would not be watching Arrow anymore, to be completely honest. It's not as bad as Season 3, but I've accepted the fact that it will never get as good as Season 2 again. Season 2 was a fluke. Season 2 was a complete fluke because they made a good villain somehow out of nowhere, and they never seem to want to do that again or anything like that.
Well, why make a good villain? We could just have someone shoot arrows.
Well, and then, of course, the main contention Felicity had for breaking up with Oliver was that, I can't believe you kept keeping secrets from me. Which I hated in that season because he didn't want to be Green Arrow anymore. He was cool with retiring. She forced him to do it, or said no, I think you can do it and not be a shitty person. And Arrow was like, and Oliver, to his credit, was like, I don't think I can be the Arrow and be a good person. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think in order to be the hero and in order to be this vigilante, I turn into this douche. And I don't trust people, and I default to this thing. And she was like, no, it'll be better this time because we're together. And I'm like, your vagina is not magic.
Magical vagina.
And that really sold me on it. Really did not sell me on it. And here's my problem, is that it makes Felicity super stupid. Because I hate the fact that she thought just because Oliver was with her that she could change him and he would not do the thing that he always does.
Because the thing is, you did show me the first couple episodes of the season, and I'm kind of super pissed because Oliver's happy.
Yeah.
And, Felicity doesn't like it because it's a boring domestic life. And I'm like,
she totally, she fucks over Oliver's happy ending because she's bored. That's the gist of it.
Yeah, fuck yourself.
And I get that it's more complicated than that, and she doesn't feel as fulfilled as she was being a superhero, and it was exciting, and I get that. But the show never, ever treats her like she's in the wrong when she so obviously is. And in this episode where she teams up with this hacker group that murders one of the members of Argus, and Argus, say what you want about them,
they're kind of shitty.
When they were run by Waller, but now they're being run by Diggle's fiance. And she's been getting a little morally questionable as well, but she's still a little bit better than Waller. But for the last couple seasons, they've had Team Arrow's back, and the fact that they someone got killed in the hacked elevator, and that she didn't realize that that's what was going to happen, and then even after that, she teams up with Helix in order to find out where Prometheus is, because that's her deal, is that, Prometheus killed her new boyfriend, so whatever it takes, I'm gonna hunt him down to make sure I save whoever it is. And Oliver comes to her and is just like, look, I've been where you are. Look, just trust me. I know exactly where you are right now. You do not want to do this. And she has that sanctimonious thing that you're the last one to tell me, to give me that speech, Oliver. Ugh. And I hate it because she's doing the thing that she was mad at Oliver for doing. She kept secrets. She's being irrational and putting the mission before everything else. Everything she broke up with Oliver over, and now she's doing, and she feels like she's justified because Oliver did it first.
That's a terrible reason. And
I'm like, don't get me wrong, Oliver is not a perfect character, but Oliver has tried to self-reflect when the writers have written it in. He's tried to be a better person. He fully acknowledges that, I'm not really I'm not a great example of perfect mental health, okay? I'm a little fucked up. He's the first to admit it. So I'm not a huge fan of Oliver as a character this season either, but he has some self-reflection going on, and Felicity has none of that. they make her so... I'm like, okay, I get that Felicity will never be as cool as she was in the first couple of seasons, but could you not make her actively a bitch? I would really appreciate that.
We have enough characters who are assholes and bitches in this show.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Mr. Terrific, who is great in this season. Wild Dog is pretty cool. The new Black Canary, which is awesome. And I feel like Mr. Terrific, they just had the reveal, like, Prometheus kind of saw him and, like, kind of faced off with him a little. I'm like, his husband's dead. His husband's gone.
Yeah.
Like, that's how his story ends. I don't know. We haven't finished it off yet, as far as I've watched, but that's the immediate feeling I get, and I'm like, do not do that. Do not make the only, gay, like,
it's a rule, Nick. You have to kill your gays.
They've already divorced on the show, and that's actually understandable, because on the show, like, his husband finds out, like, I'm a vigilante at night, and his husband's like, no you're not. Not if you're married to me. I'm coming home to a guy that's always going to be there, and I'm not going to worry about you dying every night. I'm not in that. I did not sign up for this when I married you. And, I can respect that. Yeah. I totally respect that.
No, that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do.
So I get that. And then, Mr. Terrific, he has a standpoint too. This is the first time he feels like he's worth stuff, and it's so wrapped up in his self-worth and his self-esteem that he can't stop being a vigilante,
which is also understandable.
So he's trying to make both work, and he doesn't realize, like, look, you're gonna have to choose, man. That's the deal. That's how it is. And I actually respected that on a lot of levels. And I really hope they don't bring him back. Like, I've changed my mind. I do want to be with you. Oh my god, yay, happy ending. And then at the very end episode, to add pathos, they kill him. And I'm like, it'll be predictable. It'll be fucking stupid.
Gotta kill your gays, Nick. It's the rule.
It'll make Mr. Terrific another dark character. They're gonna Felicity him like they done with every other character, like they did with Cisco. Cisco's back to being Cisco, by the way, so that's cool. That should bring me to the Flash, because I'm done talking about Arrow, because fuck Arrow. Flash. Wow, what a disappointing third season.
Jesus Christ.
I don't mean to be such a downer at the end of this, but man, okay. Flashpoint was just not a good idea, guys.
No.
Let's lay it out on the line. Flashpoint was not a great idea. It was good that they kind of reset it to a point, so we weren't dealing with it the whole season. But now we've been dealing with, like, conflicts that basically Barry caused because of his Flashpoint thing. And that's my main problem, is that no matter what people have been saying, I still feel like the ending of season 2 ruins the ending of season 1. Where the ending of season 1, he chooses not to save his mom because he wants to protect the timeline. He sees his future self wave him off and go, like, trust me, don't.
Yeah.
And
it's a really emotional scene too.
And he questions it. It's hard for him, but he ultimately goes like, I can't do it. I can't risk the chance that it'll fuck up the timeline. I gotta watch my mom die. And I'm like, man, that was awesome. That was great. And now it feels like everything in this season has been because Barry made a super selfish, shitty decision, and every bad thing that has happened is now Barry's fault. And it gives the license to Barry to be this emo, whiny douchebag about it. And we see future Barry, and you should see his haircut. You should see his haircut, Travis. It's hilarious. Like, you thought emo Barry couldn't get any more emo. It would check him in, like, what was it? Like, it was a 7 or 15 year jump into the future. Yeah, apparently he got really into My Chemical Romance.
Is it worse than emo Peter Parker?
We won't put it on that. He doesn't do jazz hands.
Okay. Not that bad, but still bad.
Yeah, so, do you care if I spoil this?
Not really.
I mean, I spoiled Arrow without actually, like, because I just assumed you didn't care. Okay, so...
The more you tell me about this show, the less I want to watch them, so bring it on.
Okay, so, yeah, they have Caitlin Snow become Killer Frost again, and that has been super boring. Like, it's just, we want to make this character a villain, but she doesn't really work as a villain, so superpowers make you evil.
Except for everybody else.
Except for everybody else's superpowers. Only Caitlin Snow's powers make you evil. And they've never explained it or given a half-ass explanation. And the reason they do it is because she's dying. Oh no. Well, wait a minute. Her superhuman, her cold ability actually comes with an increased metabolism, so she'll heal faster. And I'm like, wait, what? Since when did coal whatever. Fine.
I'm not slowing down. No. Yeah, you're right.
Whatever. I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into this with you, Flash. Not over this. So yeah, she becomes evil and tries to kill everybody. Savitar reveals who he is to her, and she automatically teams up with him. We don't get to see it as the audience, but she sees who it is, and she immediately goes, "Oh, what do you need me to do?" So like just his reveal has been like, okay, immediately gets Killer Frost on the team. So you're like, okay, who could this be? Ronnie. Like that's an immediate immediate
first
thought.
Reaction.
It'd be weird for Ronnie to be a speedster, but this is Flashpoint. So that's my thought. I'm like, well, who else could it be? Could it be Future? Because it's all done with the timelines. It's all fucked up with the timelines. Could it be Future Joe or Wally or anything like that? And it's like, no, it's the fan theory that a lot of people were posting is that, okay, so they have the big reveal. Barry faces off with Savitar, and he's like, I know who you are, and I know why you know everything that's going to happen, because this is all history to you, because you were here when it all happened, when you were me. And here's the big reveal. He gets out of the big super suit, and it's scarred up, also emo Barry.
Okay.
So Barry Allen is not only the cause of Flashpoint and basically everything that's happened this season, he's the literal villain.
Impressive.
Okay, so I don't like it.
Shocking.
And here's why.
Besides the obvious.
Look, I don't, because it's the last minute. It's like the last 30 seconds of the last episode that they do it. So there's no fallout yet. We don't know what it means or how it happened.
So you have another season still?
No, this season isn't done.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was gonna wait to talk about this. I wanted to wait to talk about this until we did a whole episode on it, but we're doing the TV catch-up episode, and I'm kind of pissed about it. So
okay, vent.
So an event on it. Okay, they might be able to pull it out with the next episode. I don't know, but the way this season is going, I sincerely doubt it. So the reason I don't like this is that this whole season has been basically, it has come with the hashtag Barry is the worst. And it's because that Barry, everything that's happened this season is attributed to Barry fucking up in the beginning of the season. It's all cleanup. It's all nothing. I get, there's consequences for Barry's actions, so that's good.
Right.
I feel like after this season, we can't do time travel anymore.
No.
Because we've proven how bad it is for the timeline, and we've proven that like Barry is super irresponsible with time travel, and we should not do it anymore. The idea of making Barry the villain for like it's future Barry that's fucking with past Barry. Okay, is it going to be this circular bullshit of like, oh, well, because I went through this because I killed my girlfriend, I turned into Savitar, but I only did that because I turned, because of Savitar doing it. And like
self-fulfilling prophecy.
The self-fulfilling prophecy bullshit, because I hate that. I don't like that.
No.
I don't like Ouroboros eating its own tail, bullshitty, lazy writing. But also, what event would compel Barry to not only become evil, but to knowingly kill Iris, to murder her?
She cheated on him in the future?
Look, like, no, because he should be dead in the future, because all the futures are like, because he said this like, oh, I've already experienced this as you.
I don't know.
And the only way I can exist is if Iris dies or whatever. So, okay. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be stupid.
Yeah.
Because remember the whole thing with Zoom ended up being kind of dumb, because they wrote it to a way where like, you didn't see that coming, and they do this every season. And
yes,
it's like,
there was no way I could have.
because you wrote it in a way where I couldn't see it coming, because it doesn't really make any sense. So yeah, I don't really have anything to rant too hard about, because it's just basically the main theme of the show that I'm not really digging on this whole everything is emo Barry's fault, and I'm like, I kind of want to go back to where he was fighting.
I'm a nerd too.
I kind of want to go back to where he was fighting people with cold and heat guns and kind of just having fun.
And a gold gun.
I don't. I forgot about the gold gun.
Right?
Look, I don't. I don't know. It's just, to me, I feel like it's become a little tedious with how the storylines have been going. But that's just me. Anyway, I think I've been ranting and raving a little far enough. Anyway, we'll wrap up this episode.
All right.
Anyway, join us next week for Geeky Goodness. If you'd like to get in contact with us in the meantime, you can do so at any of our contact information at our email, unapologeticgeekout@gmail.com. You can also give us drop us a tweet at our Twitter at UGO Podcast. Maybe give us a message on Facebook. You want to hit up our Instagram at UGO Podcast. We'll be doing some conventions this summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye out for that. We usually do update our Instagram pages pretty heavily during that. Of course, you want to help out the podcast at all, give us one of those 5-star reviews on iTunes and make sure you subscribe. It really helps out the podcast with visibility and all that good jazz. If you write a review in that review box with a 5-star review on it, I will read it on the air word for word. That is my guarantee. And with that, I think we just wrap it up for this week. We are Unapologists, and
we're out.